Here today. Of course, we're going to be playing Saga, which I know you're all excited for. Do we have new cards, PogChamp? That's a great question. I actually don't think we have any new cards, PogChamp. And welcome to all the Joshua Schmidt viewers. I hope you all enjoyed your incredibly wonderful, lovely, competitive streamer talking to you about the ins and the outs of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Trading card game. Today, we are going to talk about expanding Pride Month and encroaching on August. He was talking Magic the Gathering boss. Oh shit. Wait a minute. Joshua Schmidt talking about something I know more about Joshua Schmidt than? I thought the day would never come, but here we are. Actually, if Josh was talking about Magic the Gathering Standard, we probably know the same amount, which is what other people told us. Damn. I'll get him one day. Someday Josh is going to open up his mouth and talk about, like, U.S. patent law. I'm going to fucking own his ass. When Josh prompt? Very soon. Sooner than you may think. He's going to talk about Homestuck? Exactly. Josh, do you think... Oh, wait. Is Joshua Schmidt a valid troll name? No shot. We would have to take the D out of his last name. It's close, though. He's upset that the Beanstalk was banned. Why? Is it because he likes Beanstalk? I hate to be like this. Totally agree. Beanstalk, crazy broken card. However, also very fun. Don't take the D out of me. No, we got to put it somewhere, buddy. Anyway, I've just gone live here at 10:40 in the morning. That's, you know, a little late. It's a little too soon to do anything but prepare for Saga. I think Gage is going to be about 10 to 15 minutes late. So let's cope just a little bit and see what we can build out of our Saga pulls. So if you were around last week, you know that our Saga deck is PP trash. And there's not a lot we can do about that. We just don't have the cards. We could play Neos Wiseman, right? I think, and you're all going to crucify me for this, I know, but I think I want to run it back with the understanding that we just drew like 2 bottom 10% hands. Josh talks about patent law all the time. You would know if you watch him. Yeah, German patent law. American patent law is totally different. It's like not awful. I mean, the deck that we're currently playing isn't great. Remember, our current objective is we are on an objective survive semester, I suppose. But the truth of the matter is that Gage's deck feels unbeatable and Doug's deck feels, you know, eminently beatable. We just got to do it. Like, this deck isn't like, we'll do the draw 5 sample cards. Oh, no, that's not right. Like, this hand is pretty good. This hand's quite good, right? New 5. This hand is also fine. How about this one? This hand is PP bad. This hand is not very good at all, right? See, like, there's just so much deviation between what you can draw because the deck's not consistent. You have to draw, like, an Incantation and a Shinobird and a Rocket. But I don't know. We have nothing else to play. Remember we started building the dinosaur deck? Here's that. And it's just, this is just not there. It just doesn't do anything. I guess we could try this, but again, it really doesn't do anything. It's just like some rockets. We could play like another flower dino. What pack did we open last week? It's honestly not even worth talking about. It's the Gimmick Puppet pack, and we got nothing. The point of this pack would be we're trying to cheese out a win with Survivals and Lost World, but we, you know, have to draw them both. Is this deck better than the Shinobird one? I don't think it is the problem. Gun to my head, I think this is a much better, much more robust deck than the other one. Did they ban the Pearly stuff? They banned Beauty, yeah. I'm new to Yu-Gi-Oh! And very confused about how exclusives work. TCG and OCG have exclusives like Mitsu and K9 respectively. Do we get one or both or none in Master Duel in the future? We will get all of them eventually. Did Exosister ever come together? No. We have the material to make Machias once. But we have no reason to make Machias. It doesn't do anything. It's like we have to draw a 2-card combo to make Machias once. We have so many packs that are just 1 or 2 cards away from being there for us, and unfortunately, here we are. Also, K9. K9's not an exclusive. I guess we should talk a little bit about Malice. We can do that while we wait for Gage to wake up. I'm sure you all came from Josh, who already talked about all of this and probably had more insightful things to say, but I'm going to say the things that I have to say that are maybe a little less insightful, because that's why you come to me anyway. So, a new selection pack is coming out on the 3rd. It's going to include, alongside the new Tenyi stuff and the greatest card in the history of time, Liberator Eto. Delta of Invitation, cool card for the off-meta zombie brews. It's also going to contain Malices. My understanding is that it will contain every single Malice that has been released, with the single exception of Malice in the Mirror. A spell card that is quite strong, not to be discounted. It is a critical part of Malice, but make no mistake, this deck is still going to be really good without it. And importantly, will have all cards available at 3, which is a type of legal that never existed in the TCG, because the period in which the TCG had Malice at 3, it didn't have access to March Hare, and there was a critical weakness that March Hare just papers over. So, I don't know, man. I'm a little confused by this. I certainly would like Malice and Raziel to come to Master Duel sooner rather than later. It is kind of frustrating to have to test for all these stupid formats that are totally dominated by these 2 archetypes and not be able to test them in the best way to play Yu-Gi-Oh! Online. That said, Malice without Raziel, I think, is going to be a really unfortunate format. This deck is quite hard to play. It is complicated. It's a big, sexy combo deck. It's going to be annoying to sit through. It's going to be robust in terms of its end board. It's going to be near impossible to play through uninterrupted, which means that, like in the TCG and the OCG, I think you're going to see an evolution of hand trap lineups to be exclusively like turn enders like Droll and Lockbird, Maxi, of course, available exclusively in the OCG and Master Duel, Fuwalos. Maybe Perulia makes an appearance. Maybe we do a little bit of Nibiru +1. But that's going to precipitate a format that is very swingy, very frustrating in best of 1, and I think is going to turn off a lot of people. Dies to Lancia? Yeah. So in the TCG, the current thing preventing Malice from being the best deck is it's the easiest deck to hate out in the extra. You're able to play 3 copies of Mulcharmy Meows, 3 copies of Lancia, and kind of get away with having a less than stellar Malice matchup by drawing powerful 3-ofs out of the board. Of course, there's no board here, so I don't know. I think you will see people experimenting with like putting Dagda in their decks and integrating it into an end board. I think you will see people experimenting with main deck Lancia or main deck Meowls. We don't have Meowls, but I don't know. I'm equal parts excited to see this format more closely mirror the format that I'm currently playing a lot of in the TCG, and a little tentatively scared of how good these cards are going to be, because they are going to be good, but we all knew these cards were good. You're not going to die. You're not going to kill the beast. Thank you for using. You're fine. Chad, we're kind of dealing with a crisis in our home. Sadie may have fleas. We are uncertain. She has like some red scabbing on her head, and she is like scratching. We're like, that's got to be fleas, right? And we don't know how she got fleas. She's up to date on her flea and tick, which is really irritating.
We got our yard treated. Now that I think about it, it's been cut out. A lot of yard not been cut.
Yeah,
and,
she
probably just walked in somewhere.
We live in an area where where it's so humid that bugs just propagate to an unbelievable degree. And for that reason, we do get our yard treated. But I'm not going to ask the treatment people to come out. It's 1,000 degrees. So, yeah, it is probably just the case that she traipsed through something that had fleas in it. But it could just be allergies. It could also be allergies. Either way, Jillian just washed the dog in the flea and tick shampoo, and then we probably have to vacuum everything in our house.
And the flea, like, get and run off. All the bees. I have OC. No, it wasn't a great thing.
Well, all the bees are going to die by your hand. If it's a red spot, it's a hot spot, and they scratch it to make it red. I don't. Maybe.
It's on the top of her head.
Yeah, she's not scratching it.
I brushed her a lot.
Yeah.
I gave her a bath yesterday.
Yeah. I hope we don't have them in the house, but I don't think we're going to steam treat the entire house. That seems like a lot of work. But I was looking up online, and they're like, you do need to vacuum everything probably once every 2 days for about a week and a half. And I'm like, okay. Yeah, we do have to wash all the bedding. She spends time in our bed. Fleas are often visible. They run around the less hairy spots on the underbelly often. I don't think we've actually, like, seen the fleas.
I saw a small bug on her
That could have been a flea. Yeah, it's a fun place to be. How fun. You know, I was thinking about it. How does flea and tick medicine work? How does it de-incentivize the fleas from showing up? I don't know. Regardless, let's see if we can't get the other boys in here. Do you give them the pill? Yeah. They said ready, and then I called them, and they weren't ready. How is that fair?
What's up, buddy? How's it going?
Good. How's it going with you?
Good. Hey, out of 5, what would you rate the difficulty of playing Malice when
5.
it comes out? If like 5, like difficult 5?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't like to hear that.
Yeah, it's hard as fuck. It's an incredibly difficult deck. The problem with it is it's just got so many options and so many routes for sequencing.
Yeah. Like but are they all like sequences that play around certain cards or something like that?
Yes, but they'll change based on what you draw.
Okay. All right, I'm fucked then.
It's how is it compared to Memento? It is comparable. I would say it is a deck that is like it is difficult in the same way Memento is difficult.
Okay, now Memento also has the skill check of your APM, right? Like
that's Memento is an APM deck for sure.
Malice doesn't have that many actions, or are they just like really?
It does. It has less actions than Memento, but it does have a lot of actions.
Okay. I think I'm still gonna learn it.
Yeah, of course. You have. You're not gonna get away with not learning it. Like you are gonna have to learn it. If only because it's probably going to be the best deck. How about Branded? Should I watch another 20-hour long tutorial? 20 hours is probably a little low. I would go a little higher if I were you, I think.
20 hours. What's the most you've ever spent studying for something?
Well, I've been studying for the bar for 3 years.
Like,
I don't know.
How do you study? Do you like need no distractions to like absorb information, or are you like you got like house playing on one screen, you got the dubstep playlist playing out the computer, couple Twitch streams out on the 3rd and 4th monitor?
When was the last time you had to study, Gage?
Hello?
Hey.
Do you want me to be completely honest, dude?
Yeah.
I like never studied. I would just ride it and see what I could get away with. I was very
Yeah,
good at
that's-
getting away with.
I was gonna be like, that's ridiculous, but it's not that ridiculous. It wasn't until like college where I was like, dude, I have to like study.
I
How
think
do I do this?
I was gonna say that's where college is the first place that I really studied, and even then, maybe not so much, not as much as I should have, but that is like I did study more in college than ever before. I felt like that was a legitimate increase.
I think there was one final in freshman year that I legitimately like cracked down for. It was like a
You
statistics
locked
final.
in.
Well, yeah, because like if I didn't do well enough, I legitimately failed the course. So I was like,
Yeah,
I
that'll
guess
get
I have
you.
to
That'll
like.
get you to try.
I was like,
bit,
I guess I'll actually like lock in for this gamer stance initiate, and I passed it. I got a B.
This is like embarrassing, but I remember like my first like really tough class. It was like using philosophy to prove or disprove God or something. And I had heard it was really hard, and it was really hard. But I remember like spending a lot of time, which probably means like 2 total hours studying, which was more than I'd ever spent on anything. And I remember like doing the test and like it like this sounds silly, but like I'd come across questions and I'm like, oh my God, I know the answer because I remember studying that. Like this is crazy. Like this is a thing. You don't have
Dude,
to
are
pull it,
people
like,
allowed to do this?
Slumdog Millionaire style out of your ass?
Did you guys ever get like? Were you ever able to make like a cheat sheet for
Oh,
exams?
Dude,
Yeah,
They would
I
allow
never
you like
did,
one
though.
loosely.
you're gonna love
Some
this.
people would
Yeah,
you
go
go like? Would you go super into it and write?
Oh yeah.
like 3-point font to fill out the
Oh, yeah.
entire thing. Oh yeah.
Um,
I never did all that.
so
I would
in-
always steal somebody else's and photocopy it.
About
In
to
law
say, that's what I
school-
would do. Like
in law school, most of
Steve.
our finals are open book, open note, and which isn't helpful, by the way. Like when they say open book, open note, you just go, oh fuck, oh no.
that means it's gonna be harder.
Yeah, but to study, you do this thing called outlining, and basically the short of it is you make like a 40-page cheat sheet that is largely a compendium of everything you will need to know from the entire topic, and then you bring that with you. And the process of creating that document is like the studying you do and takes
About to
like
say, that's
10,
what someone
15
in my chat
hours.
said.
Yeah, it's
It's a very
legitimately it
clever
is
teaching
quite
method.
rewarding. It
It's
is
very
quite
clever, it's very
rewarding.
clever. All right, Gage, get in here.
Oh, hold on, let me get into the
Wait,
room.
hold on.
I didn't even do that. My bad.
I think that is like the whole cheat sheet. Like that is like actively why they do it, just because like it like doing it is studying. It's great, and then so it like rewards the people that want to care enough to actually try. Like yeah.
All right,
It's
Doug,
perfect
I'm
design.
ready. I'm ready to go.
All right. Oh man. All right, Gage. Let's see if you cannot draw Lone Fire Blossom this. Okay, well naturally you're gonna win
Well,
the coin
it's
toss.
I can't
so-
draw Lone Fire Blossom and I can't draw my 1-card Charters. You know, there's too many options in this deck, buddy. Like you gotta count your blessings.
So
I like
last
that.
episode,
That's like the best meme of 2025. Of
One
No,
card
that's
charter.
that's the best meme if your name is Joseph.
It's the best
for
meme of all
nobody else.
time.
No, dude, it killed Nadir too. Like it's so funny.
Uh, So last episode, if you recall, you butt blasted me, Gage. Doug,
I
you
did.
also butt blasted me. And then you proceeded to play a game against each other where you hit each other with wet noodles. So I'm going to need you to get the butt blasting out of your system right now. And then in the subsequent games, we can do a noodle fight.
Okay, I'm down.
All
right.
This seems like a pretty good opening. I'm not gonna lie.
It is in fact a great opening. Yeah, Humid
Damn,
Winds is
well.
the really good card.
I'm sorry, Douglas. You know,
I mean,
it's
there's
not...
no Lone Fire.
It's not until you play like a lower powered format you realize how crazy some individual cards are, and the wind traps are just unbelievable if the game is even remotely slower. Like Blessed Winds is a total custom. Humid Winds is Rhoda every turn, and then you can also, after you Rhoda, like independently proc all of your Aramage effects. It's
Got this deck
so
out
good.
Tour guide now.
All right, let me think here. I got to be
Okay,
careful
so you
because
actually, it's not just Lone Fire Blossom, because you have 3 copies of Blend, you have 2 copies of Rosalina, so you do have like a lot of starters, to be fair.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah,
but-
no, I mean this deck is cracked. It's really above the power level of everything you guys are bringing. So
channeling
if I
my
would've just
Farfa here.
won the
A
games.
UR into a UR into a...
Yeah. I don't even want to think about what this because we already know he's summoning a Link 3 UR. So I'm just gonna let it happen. Like I could stop it. Nib would be really good.
Let me ask you this about Air Mage. Did you ever have people, I guess you guys don't like make videos about decks, so maybe not, but did you ever have people begging you to play this deck?
No.
You know, okay, you say that, but back when this deck first released, I think I did a profile with my buddy. Like, you know, he really liked this deck. He was big into plants. So
This is
first wave of support, I was posted it.
This is like the
No, I've never
number
had
one
anybody ask me to
most
play this.
requested deck that I've ever had. Like, people are constantly like,
Well,
you
here it
really
is.
should try out Arrow Mage. And I'm like, why? Like, what the fuck? And
Because
not like
really
when it got
like
new
it.
support either. Like, they were doing that when it was not playable, when it had no support, when the game plan was normal summon that 1800 pass.
They're just in it for the love of the game.
They just
Like,
love Arrow Mage. Here comes the
Big
Lone
fan.
Fire.
Yes.
the Aromage Jasmine, I mean, that was like a $20, $30 secret rare for no apparent reason when it released. Dude, this, oh my God, what do I do?
What, isn't this ridiculous?
Where are
dude?
my
I'm not-
kaijus? I need like the Pyramid of Light thing where kaiju or where Kaiba gives Yugi his like monster reborn. I need Joseph to.
Doug,
hand
if
me,
you
like,
want
a
my
kaiju.
kaijus, I'll trade you my deck for yours.
Oh my God. Who does
Well,
that,
I haven't
bro?
seen your
Oh,
deck this
why
week,
is that even a
so-
button? Why is that even a button? Oh my God.
Thank God Gage is bad at UI. That's our only way out of this one.
That can't. Why is that? I don't know why that
What
exists. bro.
misclicked? What happened?
Rick
You
the
can
Federal
either
asked
add
if
it
you
to your
wanna
hand
send-
or send it to the graveyard.
Oh, nice. Okay, cool. Skill
Step one
issue,
accomplished.
Didn't read the UI. I've
Honestly,
never
bro, that's
done that,
fucked up. I
personally.
hate that so much. Whoever wants to send something to graveyard? That nobody ever does that mechanic.
I don't know, Gage. I've summoned the wrong kaijus off Interrupted Kaiju Slumber, I think 2 times, maybe 3. So
Wait,
I'm not anyone.
Doug,
to
that
talk
doesn't
about.
sound right. Have you misplayed in Saga? I don't think I've seen it yet.
Misplayed UI. I mean, I can't even think of 10 off the top of my head.
Jesus
All
Christ.
right. Well,
All right.
I'm just giving you guys a chance. That's. I was generous with it. So.
Thanks. This still seems pretty.
No, you're
fucking
not.
good.
You're not at all.
Aroma
guess-
blend.
What does this do? Oh,
It's a fusion spell.
Because every card fusion summon. Yes.
Well, I'm never getting that mood on back. Huh. So. let's
Mood
go.
on, more like she
Moodang.
gone.
Or like Moodang.
I
You guys see Moodang, by the way? Crush Cards, pull up a
haven't seen
picture of
Moodang in a
Moodang.
minute.
Moodang's
How's
big
Moodang
now.
doing?
She's a big old
Like-
girl.
Big old
Wait,
girl.
really?
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's how the passage of time works, unfortunately.
What do you think they're feeding hippos? Like big, like they just feed them watermelons.
Yeah,
and
big
humans,
watermelons
like,
and pumpkins and
You ever
cabbages.
see?
and-
You ever see a hippo demolish a watermelon in one
Unruly
bite? That's
children.
crazy.
I know. I remember reading somewhere that like the most dangerous aquatic animal is in fact the hippo. That they just like are total
Yeah.
killers.
Not
Hey, it's
even
MBT.
aquatic. They kill more people than lions. Yeah. Does this make you feel like a man?
The lion does not
I feel like
concern
I've-
himself with a
when you
normal
kick her
summon.
around or whatever they said in the red jumpsuit apparatus. Yeah. Okay, that's fair.
Do you feel
At least
like
my
a
plants can be
man
destroyed by card effect now, Doug.
when
up.
you bang a
Um,
lancer?
Eternal special during the. Oh my god, dude.
Oh?
Send that.
The sleepy maiden, snoozy maiden. Oh no, you're sending. Okay,
The
no,
shitty
it's end of
maiden.
The game. All right.
Oh, this is
Got it.
wait, okay. So like,
I don't know why I sent.
I
this.
wanna
I'm just-
be
I
like,
shouldn't have said
oh,
that.
your
I thought
deck
it was
bad.
pretty
How I lose to bad deck, but like, interrupting your normal is like the choke point. Like
No, I think if I go first, I think I'm doing pretty good. But I
Yeah, I
haven't
think you
given up
win this.
hope yet.
that's unfortunate because I think
I'm-
my good deck goes second.
Okay, well, as long as your good deck can beat this stuff.
I don't think
Oh
it
wait, never
can.
mind, that's just a free effect.
That's pretty big.
Petal-
My favorite part about this is how recoverable it is. It's not even like he did everything for this big ass combo. It's like, and now the second half of the deck.
Yeah,
now
like, imagine if the
everything
balancer
comes
was
back.
gone and he'd still come back. He'd be good.
And dare
He's
I
like,
say,
"Alright."
it gets even better as the game goes on.
Okay, let's go
Do
summon.
you think? Hey, let me ask you. What do you think the air mages smell like? They got to smell good, right? That's the whole
Oh,
point.
definitely, 100%.
So do you think
They
they're
got a
just like?
smelly smell that smells?
Do you think they're up in each other's feet and armpits and shit, just like?
Okay. No, I don't.
Just taking
think
big
that
sniffs?
actually-
I don't know about that one.
I think it's possible.
Gain a little
No, you
life
don't get
there.
it. This is
Their
this is part of
names.
my combo, babe.
Yeah,
You-
that's how they link summon. They probably smell like shit. I mean, they're a bunch of flowers. Like, what do you mean?
Rafflesia smells like shit. I think canonically, right?
Dude, this shit.
What's like the stinkiest flower you guys can think of?
Fuck your
Rafflesia.
cards. That one that that smells like a zombie that opens once every 5 years.
Yeah, the Rafflesia.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, it's the corpse flower.
I don't know. Mirror Force
Corpse-
me, Doug.
yeah, that's pretty good. Anyway, Quaking Mirror Force.
Oh my! Wait, you actually did it.
Wait, hold.
Oh,
New poll this week. New
I
poll
was-
PogChamp.
We
I was like,
are
there's no way
so
he has anything.
totally back.
I was just trying to eject you from the game as quick as possible, bro. No way you did this to me. No. All right. Well,
We are so totally back. And he is gonna take 5K.
Like you
but
still have fucking Bang Lancer.
yeah, I'm still feeling pretty good. I'm just a little bit bent out of shape about it. I'm not gonna lie. Oops. Why am I doing that? What am I? Oh my lord, bro.
There's
You know
no
what,
way
dude?
you're
I'm
playing
gonna be
this
honest.
bad. There's
It's my 8 p.m. My 8 p.m. is out of whack right now, man. I don't know what's
you
going
better
on.
keep this energy for me. That's all I'm saying. You
I
better
misclicked
keep
the
this
mood
energy. For
on.
me.
I misclicked.
You know
I
what
don't
I've
know
done,
what's
Gage?
going
I don't know.
on, dude.
Not that this is explaining it. One time I noticed that like if my mouse is on the wrong DPI, my
Duelist
aim
advanced.
is all off because I'm not used to. God, dude, fuck your
I
stupid.
just don't
I
know
don't
what
think
it is.
it
It's actually
matters. I
pissing me
honestly
off,
think you're
bro.
just BMing me with the Fiendish chain. Like,
I'm not doing it on purpose.
Duelist advance.
I wonder what I'm gonna do here, huh?
like
Wave him.
no, I can't. I need the normal summon to resolve, Gage. Like, your
It's
deck's
okay. You
too
weren't destined.
powerful.
You weren't destined to win that one, anyways. I think I donated
know,
you as
but
many
like-
chances to actually come back in that one. So
All right. So who's up next?
You and me. You and
No, I don't think I'm playing next. Who's up next? It's not me, right?
me and one card Charter. I think.
Oh, one card Charter. All right, I'll play one card Charter.
Maybe I'll fucking go first. That would have been. I don't even know if I could have beat you going first, Gage. Like honestly, but I at least.
This is
I would've had a
unfortunate
chance.
because my deck is like blind secondy. I want to go second, but I don't want to go second against you two.
I don't know.
God.
My deck.
The onus is on
see,
me.
unfortunately,
Fucking
I
game's
always
annoying.
win the coin flip. So it's like you guys are already,
I am gonna try to
It's
go
already
first
set in
here.
stone.
yeah, tough break.
So I am going second. Okay. Let's see my epic going second hand.
I should have
Yeah, I need to start
fucking
winning more
gone
coin tosses.
second.
Do you want to switch? Do you want to
so
do the double
irritated.
pass back or whatever?
Double pass.
I'm so irritated. This is this hand was not bad. Going second. Going first, not great.
Not as.
I mean,
not as good, huh?
What? Doug is
You
only
suck
OTK
my
got switched
dick,
to Fate one time.
dude! Why?
Ooh, Dogmatica punishment. Okay.
Oh.
We did have Seahorse, not MBT, so you will not be facing an actual scary board, but you will be facing a big
Talking
board,
about
so
you're
those
gonna
are
have
kind
wave
of the same.
marbled rock minimum.
But what does Marbled Rock do?
It
you
doesn't
know?
matter. It turns on wave. That's the whole point.
Well, yeah, okay, that is fair. If I did
Oh, man.
open wave,
Dude, I
Marbled
hate to
Rock
be
gets-
like this, but absent that MST,
wave.
boy, this punishment would have done really well.
Dude, I really wanted to craft Unexpected Die more than anything in my life when I unlocked the Legacy Pack, but I think I have truly found that MST is one of the highest win rate cards in this show. Like, I think
Oh
it's
my God.
legitimately, like, broken.
Can Joseph win one game in 3 episodes? We'll find out
I
today.
don't know, man. You know, I was able to win a game in that Ghost Rig format, so I think eventually, I mean, I've whiffed on polls for like 3 weeks, so if you just wait long enough,
Do not
think you
talk
will be
to
okay.
me about whiffing on polls, Doug. I don't want to hear it. This is
I mean,
like
I'm
Your little
I'm
victory
riding
arc.
high. These are cards I pulled 12 weeks ago, so well, not that many.
I think
but,
we've
you know.
all had our little bit of fun in the sun,
Stints
right?
with- yeah,
Doug with
yeah,
his
bad.
Altergeist, You know, I'm currently living in the sun with my flowers.
Gage,
snow
you
in
have
the
not
rain.
had
thought
a
my
bad
was
deck.
good until I saw your deck, Gage. Like I thought it was pretty good.
What the fuck are we doing here?
Let's get a little bit of action going on here. No Crystal Heart, but that's okay. We don't need Crystal Heart.
I hope you don't.
Equip.
Yep.
Equip. And we're actually gonna stop there. Just 2.
Why don't you ever go for the
39.
third?
I got 3 back row I want to set here.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
So
That's really horrifying. I gotta tell you, that is not what I want to see.
it is the it is
Okay,
kind of
here we go.
it's the back row. It's the feedback loop. Yes, no marbled rock by itself. Maybe not the craziest.
Step
card.
1.
Gamma Oh, okay,
See,
okay. Close enough.
My matchup is like I'm gonna lose the coin toss against Gage and get
Oh,
Kaiju.
calm
against you.
down,
This is
dude.
like a
You're fine.
bad-
Oh,
I'll
I mean,
chill.
you
Let's
said
see
this
what-
hand was really good going second, so I mean, this has to be like
it was
I mean,
fine.
Slumber's
board breaking hand.
Slumber
pretty good
is
going second,
step
yeah.
1. Okay, good.
Nice.
All right. Yeah, we have to deal with that again.
Put the marbled rock back. Hey, at least you clicked the right Kaijus in the right spots.
Breath of Acclamation. I don't
Oh,
want to
you're
hear
playing
about the
this.
cards that
Right.
you pulled 12 weeks ago, Doug, because I'm still
We're
playing
both on
the
it.
cards I pulled 14 weeks ago.
The cards
Episode
you-
1.
you know-
We're still playing Shinobird.
Hell yeah,
oh,
brother.
boy.
What did we get rid of from the? We got rid of the.
The
The ritual
ritual
spell.
spell.
They don't have they don't have the
Is that it?
ritual spell. They don't have well, none of the magic-y stuff. Oh, advanced ritual art is also banned. I guess technically in the Shinobirds it is just the ritual spell, but it's like I'm sorry, you're just activating the card, right? Not the effect. Is that how this
Right.
works?
You have another
Yeah.
MST? Okay, thank God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you want me to say, dog?
Yeah.
All right, Gage, get in here.
Yeah.
Oh man, yeah, okay. Good luck against Gage, I guess.
Maybe I
you'll
should have.
better
That was
luck
probably.
than-
It was probably a misplay to scoop there, because like I have to give you more chances to fuck up the UI, right?
No, that's a
is
me
possible.
thing, right?
No, it's not the you. It's not anyone.
Oh boy.
really. I think it's all
Okay.
of us.
This time for
Oh my
sure.
god,
this
you're
time
in
for sure.
gold? This
Yeah,
should
I haven't
maybe
been
count,
playing.
right?
Please win the coin toss, Joseph. Please win the coin toss.
What are you talking about? It doesn't matter.
Oh wait, you're right, because you. Oh, yeah, that's.
I'm the guy playing
All right.
Kaijus.
But I think
Let me just
your
open
deck,
lung fire and make it easy.
No, like I think your deck has a better. I think your deck. I mean, as we saw with mine, I think yours has a better chance of breaking the board than mine. To be fair. But
Well,
that's not
we'll
like a
figure it
hot
out
take.
together.
We'll figure it out together. All right, let me
You
not
have-
screw it up this time.
8 starters, I think. 8 1-card.
I should have
starters.
hopped
Yeah, that's
in.
my-
I should have hopped in the first game because maybe he screws it up, right?
You like my 1-card charter? Look out for the 4 hand craps, Joseph.
How is
All
this
right.
deck so good? The thing
It's
is,
not
the
even.
Roman
It's not even great. It's just up against me.
bad shit.
Yeah.
I mean, it is okay. To be fair, it is pretty damn strong. Like he's ending on quite a lot. Like,
I guess last time we didn't really see the full power of the end board, so you all right.
because I mean, it ends on Bangalancer. It ends on like a. It's supposed to because he missed the Mudon, so it's supposed to end on the Rika trap. I know last time he was able to get the Rika Princess in rotation. I mean,
Gaming, yeah. All right, let's pick up.
tough out there.
Sorry, give me a second.
Okay, I mean, I think like 3 other times people have tried the Aromage cards and it's never worked. But I think I'm learning the differences. You just had to wait for all the good ones to be released.
All right, check me
It's
out.
like-
I figured it out.
Rosalina, these cards were not in the pack.
Okay, if I go Glamour Tribute, I get Angelica. Let me check my deck real quick. Hold on. I have to see if I have
Check
another
your
level
deck.
That's like
one. Yeah,
literally
I
not
gotta check
legal.
the deck. What? It's
Judge,
an option.
he's
The
thumbing
ju-
through
there's
his
the
deck,
check
Judge.
deck option.
Okay, I
Oh,
was
I
just,
see.
it's funny you say that. I was just gonna ask, isn't that kind of interesting though? That like in this game you could just check it at any point, but in the TCG they'll like.
Yeah, like
kill
what
you
happens
on
if a
site
Master
you
Duel
do it?
player comes to locals and it's like, oh, I gotta
Yeah,
check my
the-
deck real quick.
They'll
It
kill
just
you.
picks it up.
Yeah.
Oh, don't worry, I won't shuffle it.
All right.
How many Jasmine do you have? Just say one.
Too many, bro.
The one is too
let's
many.
go.
That is actually true. Yeah, it could just be one. That's already. We're going
Yes.
above and beyond. This deck is so beatable. Oh man, dude, I think if I just won the coin toss,
Yeah, no, I mean,
wouldn't
it is irritating. I feel like my deck's not fantastic, obviously, but it is irritating to be like, well, if, you know, Doug didn't have the MST, I check his normal summon, and then we might actually do this, you know. It is a
it's
combination
a
of
critical spot.
it's a combination of my deck being poo-poo ass and my opponents being blessed by Christ.
Yeah,
Whatever
by
god
having
I'm
the
praying
mandate
to,
of
it's not the
God.
right one.
You know, okay. Add Mudon, Rickafairy to hand. All
No,
right,
I mean,
skill
I'm
check.
in a weird spot with my deck where I do have extenders. Every single one requires me to stick a monster on the field.
Yeah,
And
that's
just
that's like the
not where you
weird
wanna be
water
in an
problem. Some of them don't, but none of them. But they're not good. The ones you want are all like, if you
I
have
mean, the
if
new
you-
ones, the big jaws, that guy's pretty cool.
surfacing big
I don't
jaws.
know.
Does he
How
do
do I get
anything
him?
for you? He's not a Marincess, right?
No, but he is a free special from hand, which is kind of nice. I'm playing a couple other. I guess yeah. I don't have another game, so I'll tell you now. I opened 5 packs of like the shark pack, so I got like 5 sharks in the deck. So you know,
That's cool.
It's a good amount.
Things can happen.
That's cool that
Kind
you
of.
got to improve your deck using your pulls.
Yeah, I mean, did it get improved if I never used them?
Well,
If a tree falls in the forest but no one's around to hear it, did I get good polls?
Okay, sorry. I'm trying to get through this.
no,
What?
I'm trying to get through it too, Gage. Don't worry. We're all trying
here.
together.
This is just the plant experience. Like
Mhm.
this is what plants do. This is what
if I
they've
gotta
always
say
done.
anything, I'm having a great time. I don't know if you guys are having fun.
I mean, I'm
but
glad that
having
you
a
I
time
think you
practiced the
do
myself.
know
combo.
what kind of time I'm having, actually. I think you have a pretty good idea.
We're having a tough time over here. I need to get some. What is that card that destroys all plants? The Eradicating Aerosol. I need that.
That's bugs.
Oh shit. Is there a plant one? Is that drought? No, drought's water stuff. Aqua, fish.
I don't know if there
Drought's
is
probably
one for
fish.
plants.
Reborn.
Fragrance Storm? Okay, Fragrance Storm, low key. That was the card I always
That's a
thought
fun card.
could have seen more side deck play. Such a
Yeah.
cool
What?
card.
Isn't it like that's like the pot of greed for pants, right?
Yeah, it's
You send
tribute a
plant
plant
to
from
the
Top
top.
of
either
plant?
field.
Yeah, on
Oh,
either
from either
field, and then
field.
draw a
Wait, that's
card,
crazy.
so-
I never knew that. Wait, it's
yeah, kind of
nuts.
silly. Not really a
alright,
format for Ed ever to see play, but
Yeah.
um,
I mean, I'm considering it.
if I pulled it, I would play it.
What the heck? But it doesn't have coverage versus my deck. What are you going to do if you get matched up against me?
Just get kaiju'd, probably. Look at this shit.
Tell me about it.
Okay, while your life points are higher, plain monsters you control cannot be disturbed by your opponent's card effects. Okay, well that's not too bad. And then you got
Set
back
3.
row.
Holy moly.
Dude,
Alright.
how are we supposed to beat this?
You have cards that beat this. I don't. All right, it's got to be a god card
No,
off
no,
the
no.
top.
I think you do. Okay, I pray. Interrupted Kaiju Slumber, Heavy Storm.
God.
It has to. Whatever you do has to go better than what I did,
Please-
which was
Please
summon.
play Interrupted Kaiju Slumber while I have more life points than you.
Oh wait,
I have
okay,
many
I'm
more.
stupid.
Yeah,
Boot
yeah,
sector
okay.
launch.
Oh my!
I know
Boot
it's shocking
sector
because you
launch?
haven't seen it in the last 5 games I've played with this deck, but there is an element that is not rituals.
You have like Savage.
I
I mean, you got
do.
some stuff.
I do.
Boot
I went into the
sector
rocket
launch.
pack.
Oh my god, I'm scared.
And it's an extender that doesn't require you to have a fucking monster on board. So you're already at a good.
Well, it's a
Wait.
2-card extender. It's
You do have to have some cards.
the only one.
Okay.
How are we
Yup.
feeling about Caliber? Good, good.
Yeah, Caliber's okay.
Okay. I'm going to make Striker Dragon.
Oh, we have that.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
which makes it really cool that I opened Boot Sector launch. That's
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
Well,
Okay,
at the time,
um,
Rocket Caliber gets bounced on
go
normal. So maybe
Penis
you need a
Plume.
boot sector.
Okay. What's that one get? Penis Plume summons one from deck, and then
he's still reading the incantations. I've had him for 14 weeks.
I
like, what
had
are
them
they
last season, and I forget what
You
they
played
do.
this exact
They're
deck.
too confusing, man. They're too confusing. Didn't we ban Talismandra? No, we thought about it. Damn.
I wish you had. Fucking free me from this prison.
That's a ritual monster.
You're just stuck in these, like, I was stuck in the Danglong swamps. Like, it's tough out there.
All right, let's see here. That's fine.
You're not gonna fiendish chain it?
No, I think this is fine. You can take a monster. That's okay.
Hmm.
Go chat. That Danglong deck, it was very close to being good. I think it was right around the corner. I just didn't lab it out enough. I think it was eventually going to be really solid. It was just 3 garnets for a draw too. I mean, that's really good.
I don't know. I'm looking at my options and they don't look great.
Bleak, isn't it?
They're not looking wonderful.
Like, does Gage even have things besides a bounce? I mean, yeah, the unknowns, but oh wait, once returning you can pay 2. Oh no, that's not a quick effect. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
I can't believe this fucking card has been played in 2 different seasons. That's actually absurd.
Do that. And then flip that.
Oh no.
Oh, the dried wins.
Oh no.
All right, Joseph. I think you're getting to the spot that I was in.
You think so?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Did I mention plant type is banned next week? We now spin a wheel to determine.
Oh, the
which
entire
of
type.
card is-
The entire type's gone now.
No, your deck's definitely beatable in theory. Like, you just gotta go first and set up an interruption.
Oh no. Wait, oh, is this
Maybe 2.
Xaxes? Oh my god.
Well, you know, it would have been too good otherwise.
Wait, exact. You realize I have like multiple life gain cards. I'm chilling, bro. I think I'm.
Yeah,
good.
you're parallel universes behind what I'm calculating.
I mean,
here.
he doesn't have effect negation, so I feel like, you know.
Wait, so what is this? They want me to send these 2? Oh my god. Sometimes Christ doesn't want you to win a game of Yu-Gi-Oh. That's what I'm learning today.
And all. Oh, you gotta send 2 level 4s from hand. Oh no, 1 level 4.
No.
You got it. Okay, sure.
Okay.
That's not bad.
So you get the field spell, I guess.
I'm hoping.
Okay. Sure.
Could be, you know, power well. You never know. Yep.
Okay.
Wait a second. Stars Align above the shrine literally has Breath of Acclamation in the artwork. Am I the first person to notice this?
Does it?
Yeah, isn't that what the
Kind of,
base
maybe.
is there? If you compare them, no, it is. Yeah. Weird. So they literally know. That's a saga reference.
Okay.
Not too bad. Oh my gosh.
I'm pretty sure the field spell says exact. You have to confuse with like the levels exactly.
Equal or exceed the ritual monster's level.
Oh. Wait, let me read that again.
Yeah. Public knowledge. So
I mean, I think you're fine.
I think I'm fine, yeah.
Because I don't have any Shino birds.
This is fun. I never used this before. We'll use the other effect of dried winds.
You were at 11,000?
What a fucking card.
Dude, what
See you
is
next
your
week.
deck, man?
All right, what a card. I don't. Okay.
I guess that went better than my game, but I don't know.
Did
like,
it? I feel like it. I feel like I'm 0-6. I feel like it didn't.
It was the same result. It was
Yeah.
the same result as my game, which is a tough spot to be in. All right. I can send over my deck list. New additions this week. I mean, I kind of mentioned it. They're not like outstanding, but I do have 2 Lantern Shark, 2 Crystal Shark, 1 Buzzsaw Shark, all of which are either normal summons or require you to control a water. I was up shit creek without a paddle against Gage. Fuck, dude. Your deck surely is beatable. Yeah, I mean, it looks
I got
crazy.
a second. I got a second Rose Girl naturally today,
Oh,
and I got a
cool.
second Blackhorn.
Yeah, I'm
and
about to say
then-
second Blackhorn.
Yeah,
you know,
and
that
the-
card tends to be pretty good against my deck because
I didn't get anything else good today. I'll even let you guys know I opened the Crystal Beast pack today. That's what I got
cool.
stuck with.
I got
Well, you
nothing
already
for the
have
4th
a-
week in a row, and I opened
You're not the one
gimmick
that has
puppet pack.
to.
Yeah, but
That's
Gimmick
awesome for you to be
Puppet-
like, my deck only improved a little while you have the best deck in the room. That's like really awesome. You're playing against
Joseph,
people
what
whose
did
decks are
you-
full of shit from a butt.
You got the Borreload
No,
ritual.
no,
that's
I didn't.
broken.
I had it last week. You haven't seen it yet because the deck is not good. But I have to show up and play it every week because I have nothing else.
What did you pull this week? What did you go?
What did you pull this week? Great question. I'd love to give you an answer that isn't gimmick puppet.
Oh, that's a great pack. That's great,
Oh
man.
my god.
It looks like you got a Heliopolis. Check them out there.
Nope.
Good
Had it
you
for
bro-
3
don't-
weeks.
don't
Again,
hate
you
you.
haven't seen it. You haven't seen it.
All right, catch you guys next week for more cutting down the
When is
grass.
the fucking ban list, man. When is the goddamn ban
Fuck
list?
this plant deck.
This plant deck is nuts,
It's,
dude.
is
I'm
the
so
is the ban
sorry.
list after this
No,
episode, or
if you
do
just
do I have?
win every coin toss, like I think I could beat you.
I don't know, Doug. I think if I don't even win the coin flops, I've like 2 Wall of Thorns, like Mirror Forces. I've got like
Those are
this deck is
fine.
so
I can
crazy.
deal with those cards. I can't
I
deal
don't
with the
know, man.
Bangalan. Bangalance are literally solos my entire deck. I really like. I wasn't joking. Like Crystal Shark is an extender if you control a water. Like all of these cards work if you control a water. There is not a card that extends without controlling a water. It is so sad how bad these cards are. Fuck, dude. Your deck can lose. I'm gonna prove it. You're not. I
think
will not
you're
let
the
you go
only one who
8-0.
can prove it. I'm just showing up to be in the thumbnail.
All right, GG's.
GG's, boys.
Yeah.
Are you trying to play?
Great
You
one.
trying to play any peak?
Joseph, what do you got going on? You want to play some Peak with us?
I gotta do actual stream, I think.
Ah, man. Okay. fair.
Lame. Doug, I'll play a little bit of Peak with you. I'll peek it up with you.
Run it.
All right. See you, Joseph.
Man, that was not fucking fun. That was miserable. I can't do this every week, man. This is awful. I think I would feel better if there was at least a little bit of change. Like if the deck was changing at all. Sit and watch Plantling for 10 minutes. Not even that. It was sit and watch Gage misplay out of his mind for 15 minutes, then lose to MST, unbeatable deck. Oh, man. Pull better cards. At this point, if I pull better cards, I'm not even putting them in my deck. Because then I will be in the same situation next week. Right? So it behooves me to just sit on my ass and do nothing. Lose another week, make another unwatchable video, and then show back up with something that can maybe win an episode. You said that with the Dino cards, and I premiered them early, and it got me in this position. Those cards weren't even great. I was like, they're not good enough to hide. Now I know how bad it could be. Oh my god. All right. Let me give... Ban list is after 2 episodes, not next. I think, no, the ban list is next episode. For sure. I'm 0-6. The ban list is on the 0-8 episode. Don't worry. All right. I don't know what to do. I don't think there's anything I can do that will impact the outcome of this series at this point. Even if I pull interesting cards, you're going to see them 2 episodes from now because I'm hiding that shit. So Thanks for the ad revenue. I don't know. I can't say that shit. Here, let me get a better intro. I don't know, man. I don't know what you want. I hope I pull good cards and I put them in my deck. Maybe they will make an appearance on a future episode, but no guarantees. Maybe I'm supposed to wait till next week and hope I roll the Malice pack. Okay, so here's the here's the Farfa wheel for the third week in a row. 4 NR. That's pretty good. I'm happy to see that. All right, let's see what pack I'll be opening. All right, starting out with 10 master packs. As always, there's like 4 or 5 packs that if I get into, we just win the series. But at this point, I probably can't show them off because we're 1 episode before the ban list. So what I'm pulling today is a bunch of cards that will maybe allow me to lick my wounds after I can go 0-8. Like, that's the best case scenario, is that I pull cards that will be played on a future episode where I don't want to jump. That was a weird yellow pack. Okay. Oh, hold up. Let me actually DM them. Is ban list after next episode or the one after? If it's 2 from now, maybe I just quit the series. That's the... Well, we've got 1 pack so far. The boxer pack's not terrible. That pack is terrible. That's a really bad pack. I'm upset to see it on my wheel. 2 Night Sword Serpent? Yeah, that'll be good when we get Ryziel. Hey, World Legacy Memory is a good card. Yeah, for sure. Even if we win 2-0 from here on out, is that enough to win the series? Chat, I was very ahead before this. I was about 5 ahead before this. I think Gage is now 1 up on me. Okay. Cool. That pack is also unplayable. All right. Okay, Gaga Got Cowboy is a card. Ice Jade is a pack, and maybe we can play Gage's deck before it gets banned. All right, there's some okay stuff in here. You know what's also in here is the fucking Gimmick Puppet pack again. Gimmick Puppet twice might not be bad, actually. Ban that guy. Ban anyone who says any shit like that at all. Okay, here we go. All right. Dude, come on. Okay, all right. Whew. Feet away from the worst day of my life. New Frontier is the branded pack. Huh. Well, this is interesting. This is maybe the best pack in the game. Oh, wow. So... Oh, no. There's no branded fusions at low rarity. There's no Sure Egg. Could get the Tri-Brigade stuff. That's not bad. All right, we'll try this out. This pack is good, but it's got 12 archetypes in it. So I'm hoping for, like, Decisive Battle of Gold Golgonda, a branded fusion-style guy from outside of the pack. Rugal's good. Happy to have the Altart Cartesia, just for my own sake. Like, no matter what happens here, we get... There's Decisive Battle. That's really big. We get the Tri-Brigade stuff out of here. We don't get Sure Egg, and we don't get the Trap card, but we have them as, like, a good enough suite of monsters to maybe play. That's huge. With a different Beast Warrior archetype. Maybe we go back to Fire Fists, and we can use them to cheat out Eagle or something. That could work. Maybe. There's our third Decisive Battle of Gold Golgonda. And our fifth Despian Tragedy. I don't know why we're doing that. Opening those super rares also gives us access to the other Tri-Brigade packs. Nerval Fractal, good. I want to use my 4 crafts probably on 4 Tri-Brigade names. Kit's big. New Frontier is nothing. Did they ban all the Fire Fist stuff? No, they were kind enough to let me still have the Fire Fist stuff. Don't think it matters. There's our third Fractal. Million Century Ice Prison. That's a cool name for a card. Get in the Ice Prison. Double Erosion. We could play Ice Jade if there weren't 9 archetypes in this pack. Okay, I mean, there's all my Ice Jades. Second Kit. Haven't pulled a Karos yet. Is Karos in the pack? Is Kit in the pack? Tri-Brigade Kit? Oh, God. All right, we got some cool stuff in the close here. Agro Cassis is an interesting card. And Lulu Walilith is total garbage. 100% Garbanzo Beans. We can send it off punishment, I guess. Okay. Could have gone worse. We got Rugal. Worst opening yet? You weren't here last week. What can we do 5 of? Echo Chamber Nation, probably. All right, we're going 5 deep in Echo Chamber Nation to try and round out Tri-Brigade, maybe get a payoff to it. Second Nerval. Merrymaker is not terrible. Fleur de Lis is not the UR I wanted. I'm going to move to Alba Abyss here. I'm looking for Tri-Brigade Kit and any of the branded fusion guys because we have the decisive battles. Like, those are only good if we have branded fusion guys, and we don't have any yet. There's another punishment. That's huge. Come on. There's 2 guys at low rarity we could get, and that's none of them. Wow, that's a really rough one. 2. All right, we got 2 more in here. We just need one name, like a brigand. I also want Tri-Brigade Kit. Awful, awful stuff. Unnecessary. Ooh, these last ones are not working out. Oh, thank God. Oh, and our third punishment. Okay, those panned out for us. Okay, well, I think we only have the one target for Decisive Battle of Gold Golgonda, but I mean, it's the one we wanted. Yeah, that's stuff to work with in 2 weeks. This week you're gonna watch the same old slop. We could have probably just randomly pulled one. I hate to do this to you. I have the list up. We have pulled 0. We have not pulled a single one. We have some good targets for punishment. Like, that's a big deal. But we have 0 branded named fusions. 3 Fractal, 1 more Brigand craft. Well, okay, so we can't craft Brigand because the 10 we went into was the lore pack, which doesn't have Brigand in it. So our NR crafts in this are probably going to be 3 Karos and oh boy, they don't even have they got nothing for us. Scribes a spell trap. We could do Tri-Brigade Showdown. That's I mean, that's not terrible. We pulled a Rugal already. Don't worry about it. And then yeah, holy shit. Did you get Revolt? We don't have Revolt. No, Revolt is not in this set. What set was Revolt in? Maybe we should have gone in on that set, but I thought the Golgonda was higher impact. The opening act of a big doo-doo head. Okay, this one was never in contention. Echo Chamber Nation, maybe? There's Revolt. But every other card in that set is not great for us. Rough stuff. Okay, let me do the math here. So after going 0-6, I'm 14-12, and Gage has Gage gone 6-0. Jesus Christ! Then Gage is also 14-12. So Gage is 14-12. I'm 14-12. Doug is 12-14. That can't be right. Did you check the collection for Revolt? I haven't. God, I hope we have one. It is an N. It's possible. I'm not seeing it. No, I don't think we have it. Hmm. On the bright side, if we sit on this, it gives us a chance to hunt for it in next week's polls specifically. Yeah, that's true. It just does suck to be in a position where, like, we are tanking an entire season. Like, there's nothing we can do. There's no other deck we have that is even remotely playable. The other strategy that we could maybe cobble together is this one. But this is just nothing, man. This is totally nothing. Like, this maybe makes Savage if we're lucky, but Savage isn't even, like, the end of the game. Like, at this point in the series, people have things that beat Savage. How's Fiend Slop looking? Oh, I wish. The rituals are also nothing. At least this is variety. Yeah, I may play this next week just to give the viewers something to look at. Like, it is terrible. It's really bad, but I think people are sick of watching this deck also do nothing. Can you build Fire Fist Try? Well, I don't want to. I have nothing worth banning at present. So if I build Fire Fist Try and they hit, like, Fractal, I'm back where I was last week. Legitimately, it is probably, like, the worst case scenario for me is Doug MSTing the punishment makes them ban Dogmatica punishment. I think that is a real possibility. Surely you can't draw bad hands 4 games in a row. Where have you been? We drew bad hands 6 games in a row. I don't think it was even bad hands. It was just hands that don't play into multiple points of interaction, and every person's deck puts up multiple points of interaction at this point. Kaiju Slumber is getting banned. All right, let's try and map out the bans. Kaiju Slumber for sure is getting banned. But what else? Like, I don't think there's anything else worth banning, and I think if they ban something, it'll be punishment. Like, they never ban any of the rituals because I am actively losing games because I'm playing them. Punishment or Quick Launch? I haven't drawn Quick Launch yet. I haven't drawn Quick Launch or made Savage yet. They have not seen Tracer. They have no idea what's going on with this stuff. I haven't activated Punishment, but it got MST'd, so it is up for Striker Dragon. I mean, what does that do, really? What do I ban? I'll figure that out as necessary. Probably all of Gage's pool. You should have scooped when he activated MST, just like the good old Infernity days. I think you're right. I think you are probably right. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think there is a. I don't think there's another option than one of these 2 decks, and I think both of these decks go 0-2. It's kind of a bad position to be in. I think there is like a situation where I maybe win, and it's like, like the situation where things go better is I max out on Dogmatic Punishment, and I give myself more going first tools. I go first against Doug, and then I contest his normal summon. But like doing that totally puts the crosshairs on punishment, gets it banned, and then we're without it for the rest of the series. I think the tri deck is good enough in a first week format. We just got to get there. Is your collection up anywhere to look through? I mean, I don't. I guess I can throw it up somewhere. I'll throw it up in the Discord. But you're not going to find anything. There's really not anything worth doing. I feel like we need to gamble it because punishment's probably getting banned anyway. Yeah, I think if we Yeah, I think you're probably right. Like, I think I'm heming and hawing over keeping punishment away from a ban, despite the fact that it might eat a ban anyway, just for being the only other good card in my collection. Strategic loss in order to ban the important stuff and not touch yours. I mean, I don't know. We've taken 3 weeks of losses. If we go 0-8, like, we are in a very poor position moving into the end of this thing. I think we have what? Let me do the math. It's 20 episodes, so it's 40 total. So I'll be scrolling up. I'll be 14-14. So we have... That can't be right. 14-14 means that we have 12 left? That can't be right. It is right, because we did 3 on the first pass. So 12 left is 1 more sequence in the final. One of the O2s was the last episode of the previous season. Was it? No. Maybe. The dinosaur deck? Maybe it was. Yeah, wait. Maybe it was. Oh, shit. So we win. Oh, so we have 2 more episodes of this, don't we? Oh, my God. We can't hide shit. We have 2 more episodes of this. Okay. Then we need to actually build it. Then we can't hide it for 2 weeks. We can't go 0-10. That's like unbelievable. Will it be not ass? I mean, it doesn't matter if it's ass or not. It matters if it's better than our existing deck pool, which is terrible. All right, let's watch Jaxel. Let's play a real format.
Duelist.
Here, hold up. Let me see if they're at a stopping point. I can ask them this question. They are not.
Okay.
You just go straight up.
They're mid-peak.
Okay.
Can you watch this? It's my birthday. I don't think it is your birthday. It genuinely is. Happy birthday. All right. All right. It is time to watch everything you need to know about Duelists Advance. A quick reminder, we are not just watching the video. We are going to the Curry Bandits YouTube channel. We are clicking the link that I'm about to pin in chat. And then we are going to like the video. We are going to subscribe, and we're going to leave a comment about epic gaming. Welcome back to another episode of Will of the Jaxel. I am Joseph, stealing content again, and we have some randos in chat. That's interesting because
releases on July 4th.
we hadn't even started at this point.
Justice Hunters archetypes still yet to be imported. This set throws the TCG into uncharted territory.
It does. It sucks that this is coming out the week of Nats. I am excited to watch the Everything You Need to Know because I do need to know this shit. I have not done any duad testing, and I'm hoping that it isn't that impactful, but I guess we'll see.
My name's Jaxel MS, and I know everything because they pay me to. Here's
DMCA. I can't believe he rolls the dice today. With every upload, he risks losing monetization. Oh, this is really long. What if this was the whole video? 44 minutes of Naruto Sasuke AMV.
Medius the Pure is a dark fairy that either searches or...
Hey, I just realized, what's the background? Like, what's this a blurred out picture of? Is it D-Sod? It's the Pharaoh and Atem from D-Sod? Why?
Medius the Pure is a
Okay.
dark fairy that either searches
Art
or summons a
Magia!
power patron on summon and can reborn himself by shuffling back a monster from hand or field. Archmage Power Patron is an illusion that locks you to fusions while he's on board, can fusion summon an Archmage or Nerva as a quick effect, and searches an Archmage spell or trap when he's sent from hand or field to grave. Latera is a spellcaster that summons herself if you control an Archmage card, then adds one back, and during your opponent's turn can summon an Archmage card from hand or grave, then bounce herself. Grafflayer is a dragon that summons itself if you control an Archmage, then sets a back row, and can pop an opponent's back row as a quick effect if you control 3 different types. Finmel is a level 7 warrior that gets on board, then draws a card, protects level 6 or lower Archmages from targeting, and if you control 3 or more types, quick effect negates and halves your opponent's monsters. Archmage Academic Arcane Arts Acropolis gives you an extra normal for Medius.
That's not the name of the
Discard a
card.
back row and declare the name of an Archmage to search it, once for each name, but locks you into only summoning Archmages, Medius, and whatever you want from the extra deck for the turn. As far as I'm concerned, all Vandalism is Assault, searches Medius, can treat one monster as an Archmage for a fusion summon this turn, and can replace the destruction of Acropolis. Varnish Alteration either places Acropolis or searches any Archmage if you already control it, and from grave can negate an attack, then summon Medius from hand. Masterwork Succession is a quick
He
play
is
fusion spell
speeding
that you can
through
banish
these,
from
holy
grave to
moly.
shuffle back 3 names. Theorealize milks Medius to fundamentally do nothing, and can banish itself from grave to change the type and attribute of a monster you control until the end of your opponent's turn. Awakening summons an Archmage or Medius from deck, then Lingering Magical Meltdowns, and can banish itself from grave and bounce an Archmage to destroy an opponent's card. Archmage Deactorus is a fairy fusion of Medius and an Archmage that can rotate a monster, negates and destroys an effect on field if you control 3 types, and when he dies he summons Medius. And Nerva, the Power Patron of Creation, is a fusion of 3 Archmages that can also be summoned in defense by tributing 3 different types, can't be destroyed by card effects while a field is up, and can chain to the activation of an Archmage monster effect to replace it with legalized nuclear bombs. This absolutely massive first wave is mostly a big nothing so far.
Okay,
so
thank God.
let's get into the thick of it. The
I was
nitty-gritty,
hoping
the
that it was gonna
popcorn
be.
kernel in your teeth that mysteriously disappears when you feel around for it with your finger. Medius is a nice simple starter for this deck, being able to summon the so far 1 Power Patron to make Deactorus and then search the field spell. With Assault being able to search him and Fusion Deployment summoning him from deck, you have a significant number of ways ways to start with him, and with Foolish and Thea Realize, you can go -1 for a few more ways to find him. Thea Realize, while not searchable, does have the added benefits of not being easy to interact with, maybe giving you a bit of early info on what you're up against, and making one of your monsters a light fiend to do a kind of uncomfortable Fiendsmith combo, complicated by the lack of a light fiend in grave, and having a short window to go down, sandwiched between the locks on the Owl and Academy, or to turn something into a wind-winged beast at the end of your turn for Featherstorm. You can also start by using Acropolis to search Graph Lair,
like hearing that.
Assault to get to Medius. Need to pitch a spell or trap gives the deck a bit of the old White Forest problem, but the good news is just one is sufficient to resolve City 3 times for all 3 names. Using the first search on Graph Lair lets you search Varnish, which can search Awakening. Then by pitching Awakening, you can search Laterra, whose effect to summon herself adds back Awakening, which you can then pitch to search Finmel. That'll leave you with the Actress's Omni, Finmel's Monster Negate, Graph Lair's MST, Awakening engraved to pop, and Laterra with the ability to reborn the Owl, who can fuse himself and 2 more guys, into Nerva, whose effect has a few possibilities. At the point of his summon, Power Patron will trigger, attempting to search, but if your opponent has no response, which they very well may not even be able to under Awakening, you can give up the search and turn it into a board wipe. But he also could turn Graph Lair's quite weak disruption into a far stronger one. On turn 3, any effect you attempt from any of their summons to Deactorus turning something can be traded for an absurd board breaker. Succession isn't as consistently a part of the board, but if you happen to roll high and have the chance to set it, it can summon Guardian Chimera as another disruption.
Oh, thank God, we have a Guardian Chimera quick play.
Well, for one thing, you're weak as all hell to hand traps. Negating Medius can fuck up a whole hand since he's not an Archmage, so Graph Lair can't help you extend from that point. And also, there's not really a good way to get Patron on board if Medius doesn't resolve, so it'll be tough getting to your best disruptions and that extra search. The only way to avoid these pitfalls is with the field spell, giving you an extra normal so you can save your regular normal for Patron, but you see, that segues into this deck's biggest weakness. All your plays are massively telegraphed. To use the extra normal, you have to reveal to your opponent that you already have the field spell. And talk about telegraph, the field spell makes you tell your opponent what you're searching. On top of that, the 3-type requirement makes it difficult to establish a board at all if it's not the full board, so it's difficult to play around Fualos, Perulia, and Droll. And that full board, mind you, is not an unbeatable blowout combo board. It's more of a Blue Eyes tier mid-range with some pretty noticeable weaknesses. Deactorus and Finmel only negate cards on field, so you're defenseless against things like Nib. But let's take a step back and see the big picture. Snake Eye was unplayable on release. Scareclaw was followed up by Tearlament. World Legacy took a minute to get there. We're witnessing the beginning stages of what very well could be another game changer, so just keep your balls peeled for Archmage Poplar or something, I don't know. Lunalight Gold Leo can search a Lunalight
these cards are actually interesting.
Card, and when a Lunalight hits the grave, she can add it back to hand. Silverhound summons a Lunalight from deck when she's sent to grave by a card effect, but locks you to Lunalights while that monster is on board, and when a spell trap is activated, she can banish herself into Lunalight fusion from grave to negate it.
You can tell who's watching Leah play Undertale. You will never understand Duelist Advance everything you need to know unless you've watched Undertale.
Then you can pitch a card to make one fusion summon you perform this turn into a Miracle Fusion. Perfume Dancer is a fusion of 2 Lunalights that searches Luna, Space, Light, Perfume on summon, can bounce a Lunalight card you control to summon a Lunalight from hand, and can banish yourself from grave to make your opponent's monsters lose attack equal to their own defense. And Lunalight Liger Dancer is a fusion of Leo Dancer and 3 Lunalights that's unaffected by non-Lunalights, can attack twice, and can quick effect send a Lunalight from extra deck to destroy all your opponent's special summon monsters. This support gave Lunalight the added consistency needed to compete in a post-Brat world, while also branching out from its old identity by giving it a really strong archetypal payoff worth building towards. While Lunalight fusions were once chock full of effects that say when this card attacks and shit, Liger Dancer is a truly worthwhile boss monster, being both a Towers and a Raigeki. Alongside Silverhound protecting you from Evenly and Herald, Liger can be extremely challenging to out for most decks in the format, with anything strong enough to swing over it being susceptible to the board wipe. And on top of that, with your still potent rank 4 capabilities, you can end on Baguska, which Liger Dancer may not be affected by, but your opponent's monsters sure are.
It is really irritating to be like, yeah, this is a fucking awesome setup. Like, this deck does unbelievable jump through the hoop combos. Its end board is Liger, Baguska. Its end board is Baguska and 2 guys who don't care about Baguska.
On the topic of some frustrating side effects of the lack of restrictions that may have been a wise decision, nothing is stopping you from ending on 2 Liger Dancer. I'm already at my 9/11 joke limit for the year. With its soft once per turn Raigeki to force your opponent to find 4 ways to threaten Liger by killing 2 and then taking the 3rd on the chin while the 2nd tower still stands. They hit the fucking Baguska. Damn it! Gold Leo may seem like just a -1 Stratos, a respectable roll but nothing to worry about too hard, but if you read between the lines you'll discover it's Armageddon Knight that loses to Droll. Since you can search Martin or
Yes.
Silverhound and immediately pitch them, Leo can trigger their effects while also having the flexibility to instead search something like Tiger if you need an extender more than you need the card economy. But if for some reason you need both, like
Look at how different the art style is on Tiger, by the way. It's so weird that, like, half the Lunalights are like, this is a sexy girl who, like, reminds you of a tiger, and then Tiger's like, this is an animal.
a late game simplified game state, your second effect can add back the very same card you just pitched, which in turn means you can also combo with Kaleido Chick to add back her mill.
Why
You
is
get
it like
Chick
a
on board
cartoon?
Pound after
Most
Bender
of them
with
were
Leo
like a
Masquerade,
cartoon.
And although it'll lock you to Lunalights, the lock washes off as soon as Chick leaves the board, so you can clear it by bouncing her with Martin, or as easily as, I mean, you know, actually summoning a Lunalite extra deck monster, because, I mean, shit, there's a good one now. Perfume Dancer searching Perfume is good not just for the novelty of the unsearchable spell becoming searchable, but also because Perfume was unsearchable for a reason. This card is crazy. And the bounce can be used to loop back Tiger while summoning the Kaleido Chick you bounce with Martin, so you get both another mill and another reborn off that interaction alone. And Masquerade is both a good enabler for your grave effects with its mill, and an important part of how you make multiple Liger Dancer, whose 4 materials might raise eyebrows at first, but between Kaleido milling and becoming Leo Dancer, Polly, searchable with Black Goat, becoming Miracle Fusion after being recurred,
Black
and
Goat.
Wolf naturally being miraculous, you
Oh,
have
I
several
hate that
ways to
Wolf is in this
efficiently
deck.
make Liger. The problem I've mostly seen from this deck that holds it back from the top tables despite making a truly unbreakable board is that it's pretty easy to hand trap. Imperm on Gold Leo
Yeah.
can be pretty damning. Joel is still alive in Argentina. And what's more,
Yep.
even though Gold Leo, Masquerade, and Tenki are all starters, they're not all created equal and force you into more constrained lines as you make your way down the spreadsheet. So you can get pretty good results if you can protect your line from disruption, but you won't play through quite as much as something like Malice. Serene Psychic Girl can banish a card from
Oh
hand on
god, the
summon,
fucking psychics, right. Didn't Josh play these?
to summon a level 4 lower Psychic from deck but lock you, and can give an extra star to one monster you control per Psychic you control. Mind Procedure can be used as a non-tuner,
Mind
can
Procedure.
pay 2k on summon to search a teleport, normal, or quick play spell, and when he's banished can pay 1,000 to come
and
back, but he
sealed.
can only
Damn.
use one effect per turn. Hush Psychic Minister gets on board, and can banish himself and another Psychic from grave to banish a monster on field until the end phase. Prototype Psychic Blaster can pitch himself to summon
I'm
a
excited
Psychic
to hear
from
what
hand
these
or
cards
banish,
do,
and can
because
pay
when I
1,000
first
to
read them,
banish
I
another
was like,
Psychic
this
from
is
grave to
probably
reborn
part of a
himself.
combo I
Parallel
can't
Teleport
intuit.
tributes a Psychic to summon a level 7 or lower Psychic from deck or extra, but dings you for 1,000 times the problematic level gap and locks you to Psychics. Teleport Fusion is a quick play that Miracle fuses Psychics into a Psychic Fusion, and if an extra deck Psychic is destroyed, it can banish itself to revive a banished Psychic. Silent Psychic Magician is a level 5 Synchro Tuner that can be treated as a non-tuner, and
All I
on summon
remember
reborn's
is Jeff
level 4
Jones
lower
playing these
Psychic,
at
you can give it a
ARG.
level
Grand
that locks
Soil,
you to
baby.
Psychic.
Hell of a deck.
Crossmind Archfiend is a level 8 that can quickly bring back a banished level 7 or lower Psychic, and during the battle phase contribute a monster to gain its attack and give you that much life. Psychic Blaster Mark II is a level 9 that can summon any banished monster, and can quick effect banish a monster from grave to banish a monster on field and gain life equal to its attack. An Absolute Axon Kicker is a fusion of a Psychic Synchro and any Synchro that can pay 2k on summon to banish all your opponent's face-ups, can't be destroyed by card effects, and any turn after it hits the grave, you can banish it to cheat out a level 10 Psychic Fusion. Actually, kind of a neat development seeing Konami doing what I can only call manually Dragon Linkifying another type. These cards have some pretty strong insular synergies, as well as a lot of good options for archetypal splashes that give the deck a really unique identity. Serene and Procedure both funnel into each other, getting you to 5 stars of Synchro material laundered through Procedure's tuner fluidity, and an extra Psychic off
Why
of
does
Serene
Serene
Summon or
Psychic
Procedure's
Witch have
Search.
the
Now, of course, you could search either of the two new
corporate
teleports to either
art-style
sack a guy to trade it
proportions?
out for anything from a Kashtira to a Zeta, or set up a quick summon of Axon on your opponent's turn, or you can search Assault Teleport. But the
Okay.
top 3 best search targets for Procedure are, of course, E-Telly, E-Telly, and E-Telly. It's a
Yeah.
shame the second effect can't be used in the same turn, so you can even use Gold Sark as a
They
starter.
even put the
That
guy
effect
from
is
E-Telly
perfectly
on
fine,
it
it's
to
just
tell
a
you
way
what to
make use of
search.
Blaster's cost for advantage. Starting with E-Telly is even perfectly fine, since after summoning Serene and subsequently Procedure, you can just search another copy, since hard once per turns were still just the gather your mind gimmick when this card was printed. From this point, you can pivot into a Punk Engine with Xiamen, so you could search Rising Scales and then make Dragon Drive by using Serene to make Xiamen and Procedure into 4s. This will let you search Minister, whose summon is even freer than that of Tracker and Wielder in this deck, and then make Fever on summon 5. Magician
Okay.
leads right into Blaster or Crossmind by bringing back Minister as a 4 or 3, and both of them have very similar effects to bring back a banished monster, meaning you can bring back Xiamen after banishing it with Scales. So in addition to Blaster's quick banish and Fever's negate, you can use Xiamen, Scales, and Deer Note to add Jiraishin and Lambda to your board. To trigger Lambda, you can use Minister's effect proactively rather than waiting for turn 3 to use it as a board breaker, so you can add Gamma or Delta Zeta to your disruption lineup. But while we're talking about Psi-frames, it's worth
that's
mentioning that
nice.
Zeta and Lambda aren't the only lords you have neat interactions with. By making Omega, you can rip a card from hand and then bring it back with Blaster to rip a second card. The fusion lines are less consistent since there's only one teleport searcher, but Axon is a massive blowout, and if he's outed on turn 3, he can cheat out Ultimate Axon, who is perfectly fine, I guess, or
He's
Mutant
alright.
Ultimus, who actually also doesn't do anything unless you're on a mutant engine. But you see, this is why they call me the king of transition sentences, because teleport can also summon other psychic fusions like synthesis for a pop.
Stupid.
Maybe including a mutant engine is too much investment for not enough payoff, but including procedure as an option in a pure mutant deck could be a significant boost to that deck on a casual level. And that's probably the most important takeaway, is that alongside the dedicated psychic sync combo deck that these cards facilitate, there are plenty of psychic decks that might enjoy an E-Tele searcher or a quick miracle fusion or an E-Tele for bigger psychics that all might want a closer look at the support. Vanquish Soul.
Wow, that was a lot more than I expected. Unfortunately, I mean, what he's describing is these cards are good in Punk, a deck that already, like, it doesn't prevent you from losing to the same thing as Punk. It just smooths out a bunch of their terrible ass lines, which is good. I like that. I mean, I'll try that out for sure.
Is a level 5 psychic that can quick effect reveal another VS.
Okay,
from
this
hand to summon
this card
herself,
actually
and
is
either
going to be
reveals
important.
an earth and a dark to steal your opponent's smallest
If you only
monster,
take
or
one
fire
thing
and a
away,
dark
it's
to
this
summon
one.
a non-psychic Vol from deck. Vanquish Soul Start is a field spell that targets a Vol to search one with a different attribute, can protect a Vol monster by revealing one in hand, and sets a trap from deck if you control 2 or more Vol monsters during the end phase. Vanquish Soul Rocks is a rank 4 that you can slap on top of a Vol or Rock of the Vanquisher. If a Vol battled this turn, docks your opponent's monsters by 8
I don't
if
like
it has
Vol.
a dark attached, gives Vols 1000
Call
if
him
it has
VS.
a fire, and can detach to pop if it has an earth. I'll stop saying Vol now, I've had my fun. So
Thank
support
you.
addresses some of the issues that Vol has long suffered from. and
Okay,
gives it some
literally
new
lying.
Plays. I lied, I'm still calling it Vol. Start
Ugh.
may be a starter, but it turns Mad Love into just as much of a starter as Raisin, where before her search targets were mostly just disruptions. Now she can lead right into the search of an earth to reveal for her quick effect bounce, or Raisin so that you can summon him from hand with Rock and search a monster. But of course this means the same can be done in reverse, with Raisin searching Mad Love, making Raisin more potent as a starter, especially because Start gets you to Snow Devil, an important role to fill now that Mad Love is focused on searching Start. This, however, is reliant on getting 2 Vols on board, which is not actually a guarantee from just a 1-card combo. You're still largely reliant on drawing a fire and using Rock's effect to add back rather than summon to get the attributes for Jiaolong's Search or Holly Sue's Summon. And while Sue makes for one more good Earth you can easily play, fires are still a little sparse. This barrel's bottom has been scraped so clean we're cutting our lips on splinters like the chill low investment Rescue Ace package. But if you do open an attribute that works with the starter you open, you can easily set up a small, unassuming board, often within 4 summons, that on your opponent's turn explodes into the full suite of Vol disruptions through your Raisin and Jiaolong searches and your Sue summon. But Holly Sue has even more depth to her since her quick effect to summon herself can be used on either turn. So if you open her in another name, you can summon her during your opponent's first turn, and then if you drew another Earth and a Dark, she can steal a monster, disrupting your opponent's turn 1 combo. But if you open a Fire and a Dark, you can instead summon Raisin from deck and use his pop, which requires the same attributes, while also searching Caesar Valius, who can bounce back Holly Sue to summon himself, and put the Earth reveal back in hand to use his own pop. Now, this is not the most consistent play ever.
Yeah, it sounds a
has
little
some pretty
Christmassy.
specific requirements for 3 of the opening 5 cards in your hand, but it makes this deck among the very few to have some true turn 0 plays that heavily disrupt the opponent. This deck is currently the most represented deck in the OCG, but of course there's a bit of a catch. In a pre-K9 format, it's unclear where Vol alone will land in an untested metagame that excludes the decks that dominated the OCG's Dwad format, and includes world premieres that Vol has never had to contend with before. Regardless
Mitsu's really good.
of its exact tier in the meta, though, this deck is definitely a lot stronger and more capable of making full use of all of its options. Oh, and Rocks kind of just exists to clear Vanquisher out of the EMZ, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know, Pop 1 is also okay if that's what you want to do. Chef de Nouvelle is a light fiend pendulum that
Oh,
searches
fuck,
a
we're
Nouvelle
doing the
return it's
Nouvelle?
activated, pops out of the scale when a monster is summoned to your
Burger,
opponent's field,
man.
can quick effect target a monster to give it
Why
up
is
to
he
3
doing that with
stars,
his
2 more
hands?
effects on this card alone, lock the fuck in, can banish a recipe from hand, deck, or grave to copy its ritual effect, and if he's tributed, he goes back to the kitchen. Nouvelle's recipe book, Recette de Nouvelle, stands all your opponent's monsters while you control a Nouvelle monster card, makes your opponent pay for every time a monster is tributed by a ritual, and when you summon a ritual, you
It's a
can point
bill.
at it, search a recipe or Nouvelle card, then give the target a Hey, where the fuck did it go? An angry burger! I'm so angry, I'm gonna bite you with my burger teeth! Is actually just hungry, which is pretty relatable if I'm being honest. Can trade itself from hand for a Nouvelle monster from deck, makes your opponent attack it, and can quick effect tribute an attack position monster on either field to summon the original Hungry Burger, baby! You thought you could replace me? You're a Lunchable slider and I'm a 1/4 pound of pure Colombian Angus! So like, this shit is
It's awesome that it does that, and it's hilarious every time I look at Hungry Burger. Just how shit its art is, it's terrible.
Still Nouvelle, make no mistake, it still has a bunch of structural issues around the amount of bricky in-between combo pieces you have to play. But let's take an honest look at what these new ingredients bring to the table.
Burger.
Chef kind of does everything. If what you seek is a one-card combo, this deck can do what I'm pretty sure is the shortest one in history. Not the worst, but the shortest. By using Chef to search Bagri, you can pass, making your opponent think you bricked, but once they special summon twice, you can shmove the Chef to the monster zone, make it a 6, and then copy a recipe to summon Bagri. And even though you're copying a spell effect to summon him, he'll see that he was summoned by a Nouvelle monster effect, meeting his condition to tribute all your opponent's monsters. And then if your opponent is dumb enough to put something in attack position thereafter, Bagri can sack it to summon Angry, who brings up an interesting point of discussion. While you could wholesale replace Hungry and be satisfied with your new brick for Bagri being Rhoda,
which I will,
and all-out attacks once it hits the board, it still gives you the option to play the original Hungry as a jank way to add one more.
We've all made the I'm the original Hungry Burger joke now.
Tribute to your end board that keeps alive the spirit of how funny it is that this deck summons the Hungry Burger. So with just one card activation and 0 summons on your own turn, you can technically end on a board wipe and then 2 pops thereafter if a lot of things go right. In a longer combo with multiple courses, Recipe Book is a useful tool both for keeping all your opponent's monsters standing up straight and for targeting any of the smaller Nouvelles that need a bit of encouragement to do the deck's gimmick, while the attached Search makes that effect less of a vestigial afterthought. All 3 of these cards saying Search on them is good for consistency,
You
and
say
Chef
vestigial?
being another pendulum gives Concord.
Hold up. Have I been saying this word wrong? I have.
Vestigial.
Oh, shit. One more time.
Vestigial.
Oh, no. I've been saying vestigial.
More options than just Poissonnière. But
I
Chef,
lost
also
an eye.
being a light fiend, randomly lets the deck do some Fiendsmith stuff. I hope by now you understand the Demono problem that makes Light Fiend Pendulum suboptimal, but one thing you can always do, even under Concour's Lock, is just pass on Requiem so you can use Lacrima for Paradise. And not to be overlooked is that searching Chef makes Tract and Engraver potential starters as well. Tessera the Primal Squire summons itself by
Oh,
revealing
the Monarch. Oh, the Monarch.
And gives you an extra tribute summon.
I wish
when it
these
hits
were
the
better.
grave, summons a Squire Vassal Snake Eye Ash from deck, but blocks it from the extra. Eidos, the Underworld Monarch, surges a Monarch Spell Trap or Mega Monarch on summon, changes the attribute of
You know what's
monster on
crazy is
field,
that
and when a
he
big
really
enough
does
guy's
look
tribute
like
summon
a
while he's
6-star
in the grave,
Monarch.
he can
They did a
either
great
add
job
himself
with his
back or
art.
summon himself. Revolt pitches a card to Painful Choice 3 monsters with Monarch or Squire stats, but locks you from the extra, and can banish itself from grave to summon a Squire from hand. Master Plan mills a Monarch back row, and when it's banished, can search a Monarch with the same attribute.
This is them plotting 9/11.
Then immediately
I haven't hit my
normal
quota yet.
summons
Don't worry,
aboard
Jaxel.
Mobius, Thestalos, Grandmarg, Ryza, or
These cards would be
And
insane if
Monarchic
Habakiri
Perfection
had
can
1,000
banish a Monarch
defense.
back row from grave when your opponent special summons to Zaborg, Mobius, Thestalos, Grandmarg, Ryza, or Caius, your opponent once each. You ever had a friend that just doesn't want to be helped? Like, the more you try to dig them out of the...
Oh, that's a good opening sentence for discussing the archetype. No, he is the infernal machine. He doesn't want to get more playable. He only gets worse.
The rut they're in, the clearer it is that they like it there. Welcome to Monarch, the deck that can't become fun or interesting without divine intervention at the very least. There's at least 6 engine-adjacent floodgates, including an engine requirement floodgate, and no clear path out of this mess aside from making the deck tier 1 again so we have an excuse to ban 9 cards from it. But this support doesn't do that, and instead tries in vain to give you other things to do that superficially look cool, like End on Perfection to potentially interrupt your opponent 6 times at various tiers of strength. Your opponent's first 3 special summons getting popped, spun, and banished, not necessarily in that order, gives you 3 ways to disrupt your opponent of roughly equivalent value. Popping 2 back row and any one set card is useful into other matchups like Labyrinth, and ripping the 5th card out of hand after your opponent has to commit the first 4 cards to the field can strangle them out of most of their options. On the same wavelength, Master Plan can be used on your opponent's turn by banishing it with Perfection or Prime, so you can use one of the same effects while also getting to use your Stormforth tribute, but it is of course matchup dependent, so so while you can comfortably Caius the average Mitsurugi opponent, you'll have to fit in Zaborg if you want to threaten a pure Ryziel player, and you'll have to be careful with that Caius when you're up against Malice. Its main effect is nothing to write home about anyway, so fitting this interaction into a list might be more trouble than it's worth. The other 3 cards on the other hand are more than a consideration. Tessera, Eidos, and Revolt are massive consistency boosts, giving you much stronger ties between the different groups of cards you need to search. Revolt doesn't give you full control, but lets you get multiple Monarchs or Squires into rotation all at once to get things like Eidos and Erebus at the very least in the graveyard, from which you can add them back later on. And getting Tessera either in hand to be summoned by its own effect or with Revolt, or in grave so you can get right to Adia. Its second effect gives you yet another tribute summon, so you can tribute summon a second Monarch in a single turn, and oftentimes even a third, since you can conserve the normal summon by specialing Adia. And Monarch Eidos is both a good thing to use one of those extra tribute summons for, and a self-sufficient combo piece since he can special summon himself in grave and will still trigger search.
Legitimately, the funnest thing that this is going to be for me is something to build a Nats. Every time I go to a YCS, I have to give myself a little quest because I have a millennial ADHD brain. I'm like, I have to accomplish something, you know, while I'm there. And usually it's like, I will just pick one of the upcoming decks from the upcoming formats that's like cheap, and I'll be like, I'll try and build it while I'm here. And I have Monarch built from like 2015. I've just never touched it. It's remained just like a every other deck that I've built and unbuilt, I've taken apart. But Monarch I've left together because when friends come over, you know, it's a deck to hand them that doesn't have an extra deck. So it's easier to kind of grasp. And so I have most of this shit already.
Since he comes back after being tributed, he works well in the role of tribute fodder, and by changing
Men love
his attributes,
quests.
he can
They
help
do.
to enable the effects of the Mega Monarchs he can search. Summoning himself also gives you more ways to make rank 6s, but Tessera and Revolt both locking you out of the extra makes that kind of negligible. So what does the deck do but fall into the same old habits of ending on Domain, Vanities, and maybe Erupt or Majesties, and if you feel like spicing it up, Perfection to help you protect your floodgates. Super Quantal Fairy Zaytan is a level 1 zombie.
I will make these cards good. If I wasn't dumping time into actually learning the current TCG format and like trying to get good at it, I would bring this deck to Nats in a heartbeat. Like, I fucking love this deck. I love these new cards. They're just in service of a deck that's not all the way there.
That summons itself if you control a quant, then matches its level, and contribute itself and milk a non-dark quant.
Curse Eyes will make these cards good, or ease. Oh, come. I know all those people.
Makes himself and a quant from grave into a quantum mech beast on summon, and when he hits the grave, he searches a quant spell. And Layer 19, Sudden Incursion, Super Quantum Black, is a quick play spell that either turns a monster sideways, summons a quant from deck if you control a quant, or sets a quant trap from deck that you can activate this turn. There's more than meets the eye to this wave of quants, beyond just the modernization of its lines, giving it multiple one-card combos that lead to the king of the computer. Zaytan can summon Alphan from deck while also milling a name that you can trigger, like White Layer, that can also be reborn later in the turn by Red Layer or attached by Black Layer. But you can also take that opportunity to mill Alphan Spike so that after resolving Alphan, you can banish it to set up Magna Carrier and relieve the pressure to search it off of blue and black.
Current big choke point for Quantum is this card. Magna Carrier is fucking impossible to get to.
Searching Layer 19 gives Alphan another good reveal that doesn't care if it gets summoned or milled, meaning that although you do have to learn 3 times as many combo lines, the lines do work no matter what Alphan hits. Blue Layer can search Zaytan, who can freely summon himself, making blue a starter as well, and by extension E-Telly, and by further extension, Mind
E-Telly is
Deceiver.
him. Oh,
Remember him? In lines that use blue
not doing
early,
that.
you can use Black Layer to search Carrier, and if you draw Layer 19, you can use Black to search another Layer 19, because its 3 effects are separate once per turns.
That's
Meaning
cool.
you can lead a turn by using it to set Magna Formation.
Okay. Careful here. I do like that it sets a trap. There are no good super quant traps.
Protecting your whole turn from targeting, and then still use the Theosis effect later on. But you can also set a
Like,
copy
the one
of
that he described is the best one, and it's your quants can't be targeted. That's what it does. Which is like, fine, but also at odds with the fact that it's not like Imperm and Valor are the premier format hand traps.
Layer 19 so that you can whip out Black Layer on your opponent's turn and use his effect to add another Xyz to your board with its quick effect enabled if you have the right color engrave. Which takes us to Black Layer's uses. As an Alphan target, milling him gets you to Layer 19, while summoning him lets you make an Xyz for free while still being able to get him engraved for the search either by proactively detaching from Luster X to negate your own guy, or by linking off the Xyz for Gravity Controller or SP if you have an extra body. But just like having an extra Layer 19 19 at the end of the turn, having an extra black layer in hand gives you the ability to make another Xyz on your opponent's turn, which can even be done as early as turn 0 by pitching the right name. It's of course luck of the draw which one you can make, but a hand trap Magnaliger or Ouroboros can be an unexpected threat to your opponent, and even just Luster X is pretty strong on account of getting to trigger both white and black searches. Primite Fusion summons a Dragon Fusion by shuffling back material, including a vanilla from field, grave, or banished, and can banish itself from grave to search a big Primite monster. Primite Dragon Berzelius is a fusion of a Primite and any number of vanillas that gains $10 for each. Floodgates any monster with less stars than the number of vanillas on field or in grave, and when he's sent from field to grave, summons a vanilla from deck. First, the Dragon Lords is also here. He's like, alright, I guess. I'm not going to talk about him though, but he's with us in spirit. Like my dad. This wave is sort of like Vanquish Soul in that I think the most successful use for them involved a Justice Hunter's archetype, but it was only like the 5th best build of it, so I'm only really bringing it up because it involved vanilla. Vanilla. And you know, as a weird matter of coincidence, that same Justice Hunter's archetype is also routinely cited as the best matchup for Berzelius' Floodgate effect, since being realistic, you'll only be on 1 or 2 vanillas maybe. But enough looking into the future, what can we do with this stuff now? Well, one option is to use it as an engine for Seals and Primite Fiendsmith. By making Barrel into Spirit, you can search Mausoleum, which can mill any vanilla for some reason, including Dippity. Then by using Fusion, which you can search with Load or Barrel, depending on which one you started with, you can shuffle back Barrel and Dippity for Berzelius, and then link off your 2 dragons for the FTK, which then triggers Berzelius to summon out the Dippity to do full Fiendsmith combo. That's, I guess, a more elegant way to get Dippity on board than Roar or Load, while getting an extra disruption along the way that plays alright into Nib. Blue Eyes probably doesn't need it, but in that deck, you can also wield it as a way to make Tyrant Dragon if you want.
Oh my god, yes, is what you need to say whenever Ray comes on stream.
Oh my god, yeah.
Sky Striker Special Maneuver Lemnis Gate is a quick play that can shuffle back an equal number of aces and striker spells from grave to bounce a card for every 3, and can banish itself from grave when a striker is summoned to link summon a striker ace. Sky Striker Ace 0 is a link 2 of 2 aces that searches a striker spell on summon and can quick effect tribute itself to summon both Ray and Rose, then pop a card on field. This support gives strikers some slightly more proactive plays that can give them a more consistent turn 1 setup from which to start their resource loop. Since Ray can tag straight into 0, you can consistently use her, Engage, or Hornet Drones to get 0 search and pop. While 0 can search any of your spells to set turn 1 like Hornet Drones or Shark Cannon, she can also just search Engage to broaden the search pool to include monsters, maybe get the draw, and of course put an extra spell in grave. And that extra spell is important if you intend to use Lemnis, because you'll need at least 2 spells and 2 aces in grave to get even 1 bounce. But what sets Lemnis apart is not just the strength of non-targeting, non-destruction removal, but also foregoing the requirement to keep your main monster zones clear, meaning you can choose to end on more than just 0 in the EMZ.
Why does the sword look like a dick and balls? Am I wrong? Why does the sword look... It looks like a dick and it's got the balls above it, right?
But also that you can resolve 0 first, summoning Ray and Rose to the main monster zones without issue. And after using both, you can use
This
Ray
is like
to
the
tag
fused
another
form of Ray
striker,
and Rose, right?
Lemnis to link it with Rose into Zeke. And although the effects of 0 are mutually exclusive, you can choose to give up the search and the pop to instead just summon 2 level 4 bodies and make Baguska.
No, I
Imagine
think
the
it is.
genuine fear instilled by a Baguska Eagle Booster. Secretarion Dragon is a fusion of a spellcaster and a dragon.
Fucked up
Loses 100
pre-support
for each of your banished cards, can target a dragon and a spellcaster in grave to reborn one and bottom the other, and floodgates all your opponent's dragon and spellcaster monsters. The one and only, the world's greatest, the Star Ham is a level 3 synchro that can pitch a card on summon to bring back one of its materials.
This is
tuner,
Justice
and can pitch 2
Blunters.
cards to reborn himself. Ukonomitsune no Onari is a link 2 of 2 lights with a beast in there somewhere that resets a quick play spell on summon, protects field spells from targeting, and when he's destroyed, pops a card and or burns for 15 based on how many field spells are up. Valon, the Super Sai Sky Blaster, is a generic rank 5 that can quick effect book a monster, and when he hits the grave, he can pop
He's
a
a
set
Sky
card.
Blaster.
You ever have a conspiracy theory that's just true? Like, there's no reason to believe it happened, but also you've just decided that's what happened. I think Konami heard that people liked the Draco Tail mirror, that it was actually really fun, skill testing, and went, we're not doing this again, and printed the floodgate for the Draco Tail mirror. And in your anger, it seems you killed the Blue Eyes White Dragon's competitive chances. No, that's them. Ukonomitsune is kind of a nothing burger! You thought I'd stick to my own segment, you stupid son of a biscuit? We're snorting Parmesan on Mars, soy boy! Meanwhile, Starham Spam acts like a sort of upgrade to Metal Marcher, being a non-tuner that summons back either of its materials, so any deck that can make a level 3 Synchro can immediately convert it into a 4 or a 5, and if you're willing to dump even more of your Hammed, you can bring him back to make a 7 or 8. Valon is among the best generic rank 5s, competing with Vamana, who negates but doesn't remove, and Nash Knight, who requires extra deck bricks, which are real. For the time being, you might consider him in Vol with Su and Jiaolong. Meanwhile, its graveyard effect makes X the Everything Raziel into MST, covering more bases than you thought were even left after
Dude, we gotta stop giving X more targets.
Aggregator dealt with all the face-up cards. Gorgon of Zilophthonia is a generic Link 3 reptile that you can't V-Link with, can't
That guy
be
is
destroyed
getting
by
banned.
battle or monster effects while it points to nothing, and
There will be a time in our lifetime, probably within the next couple of months, in which X will be banned. That will be the hit. They're gonna ban X.
negates and gains the attack of anything it points to. This card is an odd duck. Alone, she stuns 3 whole zones, leaving your opponent only 3 to work with to remove her, which maybe the remainder of your board can manage better, but the more relevant use case for her is with IP, who can chain to a monster effect to summon her to whichever EMZ can reach that opponent's monster, negating it on resolution. This changes the dynamic of any board state with IP, similar to Underworld Goddess, presenting the possibility of an immediate disruption upon her resolution rather than on a new chain like SP. And furthermore, just being a quick monster negate after a year without Apollo returns that element of disruption to generic Link spam boards. Your opponent can play around it by filling their EMZ early so that 2 of their zones are safe, but that brings us to another element to consider, which is what she can do in the main monster zone. By putting her in the center, she can stun both EMZs, complicating lines for Link decks like Malice, but if you'd like to use your own EMZ, you can push her off into the opposite corner of the board to only point at your opponents. And you can have full control of where to put her by linking her and a Fiend into Abao to revive her to whatever zone you need. It's time to play the game that would have been a ban for slow play, Lightning Round. Darkflare Swordsman milks a co-conspirator Flame Swordsman from extra to summon himself, and can sack himself to summon one from
The
deck.
Peeps
This
card.
card's not only a good consistency piece to get Fighting Flame without even using the normal, it also gets Flame Dragon engraved so that you can equip it and Salamandra to Flame Swordsman and fuse them into Doom Dragon. Does that, like, do anything? Not exactly. There's not really a good thing to link off Doomed and Swordsman into that's both a fire to equip Chain to and a good thing to end on. Since you don't use your normal summon, any extra effect monster in hand, like a hand trap, can get you to Promethean Princess, which has the added
you
benefit
make
of giving you
the
a way to
4?
get Chain engraved. And if you laddered through Rabbit, did you know that you can link off Rabbit if you don't use the effect? You can use Chain to fuse
What?
Rabbit and Doomed into a second Doom to push something. But that's still only 3 disruptions on like a 1.6 card combo, so nothing to crank your shit insane style for. Miasma Dragon Testina searches a Testina monster on summon and comes back when it
The
hits
other
the grave
Peeps
while
card.
field spells up, but locks you to Testinas from hand or grave. This card actually does kind of fit into Testina's empty spaces, giving you a good mill for Divine Domain that'll come back to field and search Demigod. If you started the combo with Sentinel searching Fallen,
Peeps
or
has
filter
actually
through
been
Sentinel
cooking
to
with this
get to
deck.
Demigod, you can bring the
I don't
bird
say
back
this
and link
often.
it
I'm
up
impressed
Demi
with what he's
before
come up
reviving
with
Demi
respect to
play,
this
so you
deck.
can make Varadras, giving you an okay board of 2 generic extra deck monsters that don't actually love you. This card's awful. I don't even think people who like Ashen want to talk about it.
That's
Kaiba
okay.
Man, the legend, is a light warrior tuner that can summon Blue Eyes on summon if you can prove that you're playing 3 copies, and can banish himself from grave when Bluey is summoned to search a Blue Eyes monster. So this does work with all your level 1 light tuner support like Mausoleum and Sage and whatnot. Only
It's
thing
just
it can't
bad.
do is be made into Spirit, but that's not really a big deal when his purpose is to be immediately turned into a level 9 Synchro. The issue is that this deck had no trouble making those, so one more way to do it isn't really worth much. Meanwhile, his opportunity cost of playing the 3rd Bluey is pretty much a deal breaker. Argo Star's Adventurous Arion is a generic rank 4 that you can slap on top
Can't
of
wait
an
for
Argo
people to
Star's
tell me that
monster,
this card
searches
makes
an
the
Argo
deck
Star's
good.
spell on summon, and can detach 2 during the standby phase to place up to 3 Argo Stars continuous traps from grave in the back row. Making this bad boy midway through an Argo Stars combo by ranking up one of your traps into it is an alright way to either search the field spell so that Tudo can focus on searching Edio, or to search Giant Slaying while its extra normal is live for a free body. What you might really hope for is that searching Giant Slaying would make it a starter on its own, and it is not that. You see, Giant Slaying needs there to be a trap monster on board to use its extra normal, so to start the combo with Arian, you'll need to make a rank 4 without using your normal summon.
You know, I actually do know a way that that can happen. The new norm intro.
Sudden Thunder Swamp can pitch a card on activation to search a trap monster, and if a card is destroyed, you can search a card of the same name. This card's also a neat addition to Argo Stars since it can give you more control over which of the generic trap monsters you get access to, letting Rabbit focus on Anguish Pattern while Swamp can get your Apophis traps. But to that end, it's kinda just the same as, I mean, you know, drawing one of them.
Yep.
If you draw more trap monsters, you'll end on more trap monsters, and Thunder Swamp is just more copies. The discard cost is a little rough in the early game, especially since you're already discarding for to-do, but the second effect can make that up handily over the course of a grind game. Trapaholic pops a back row you control to set a normal trap from deck that you can use this turn if you have 3 traps in grave. Unlike Trick and Track, Holic doesn't lock you out of traps after using it, and uses a resource you have in abundance in trap decks, but still incentivizes you to use it a little later in the turn by requiring you to have already gone through a couple traps already. And there's nothing stopping you from just chaining Holic to the second trap you activate to pop the one currently resolving, and putting the second and third trap in grave to turn your new one online immediately. Not a bad addition to a deck like Labyrinth that can set it with Lady to push the responsibility of picking what the best trap to set is until the last moment, and can loop it with Lovely so that you can get a new trap every turn. I also like the interaction of using it to pop a set rollback that maybe you don't have a better way to get out of your hand.
Quick paragraph about RB.
Okay, I'm not going to do the formal how do you do about these because they're only okay. Any way to make Booster can get you to Funk Dock, which gets you to one of the Gotens who can summon themselves for free. And rather than just making Brute Blues right then and there, you can make Clockwork and use Booster to reborn the material and link off Booster and Clockwork for blues so that you can search the other Goten and end on a pop and a spell negate. The issue is that outside of Stage Landing, which is kind of crazy for just doing the whole combo in one go, the deck doesn't have any one-card starters in Archetype, which is sort of antithetical to the nature of their extenders. All the main deck monsters are Tatsu, so if you start with Scrap Recycler or Tetherwolf and get disrupted, you're stuck with monsters on board that scare the hose. What I'm hoping to see from Wave 2 is some sort of actual normal summon for the deck, and maybe if there's time, a payoff that isn't quite as reliant on Brute Blues.
Diabellstar lore update.
Wait, Diabellstar?
What?
You died. Morgana the Witch of Eyes is treated as
No, wait, this is... I guess this is Diabellstar, right? This is Diabellstar lore update? This is... Okay. This is Morganina.
Morganite card searches a Morganite spell on summon, can negate an attack by banishing a Morganite spell from grave, and if you have 3 or more in grave, you can zero out all your opponent's monsters. Guilt Gripping Morganite
She also has
locks out
Vsauce
a monster
stats?
effect
That's
from hand,
weird.
lets you summon without tributing, and makes spell traps that pay life free for the rest of the duel. And can banish itself from grave to bottom a Morganite from hand and draw a card. Alright, so here's the long-awaited punish for choosing to skip the first 2 Morganites. Now it's actually a thing. Similar to how Gimmick
Stun.
Puppet appeared to be Konami's attempt at reclaiming the concept of an FTK and doing it in a way the company signs off on, this seems like sort of an attempt to make more of an archetypal structure to stun. Morgana gives the deck more of a traditional normal summon that can get you to Time Tearing so you can start getting your double draw phase as soon as possible, and have the extra normal for Pachycephalo. And her other 2 effects provide more protection against your floodgates being outed in battle. As a Morganite card, she can be searched with Succumbing Song, and like Succumbing Song, Guilt Gripping gives you more ways to get rid of Morganites in hand that you've already applied. Meanwhile, its lingering effects give you even more efficient ways to use tribute summons like Vanities and Majesties, and subsidizes your Solemns to keep them all alive. Since she's dark and only activates on field, Morgana works under Impulse and Songs, and while we're at it, she doesn't insist upon herself so much that locking yourself out of using her with Purge is that much of an adjustment. So in 2025, you can build a stun deck that actually looks like a deck of Yu-Gi-Oh cards equipped with a Stratos and hand traps, but it's still the same old stun you know and love that only works once and loses every game 2 and 3. And yeah, that's pretty much everything in the set worth mentioning. You're not here for that, are you? No, you're here for the show.
Yeah.
You're here to see the monkey bang his cymbals.
Yeah.
Sorry, Disney owns the copyright to a monkey with cymbals. You're here to see the monkey bang on his little drum.
Yeah.
You guys remember Woot.com? My dad used to love Woot.com. So
I don't.
basically, it was like this online store where every week they'd have like this limited release drop of some random crap. Like, there's actually no better way to describe it than that. It was just random crap. But my dad would buy it for the bit, and like sometimes it'd be something funny that would like make me and my brother laugh. And the big one I remember is what we called the Woot Monkey. And like it was this toy monkey with stretchy arms that you could just pull on, and they snap back and hit your hand really hard, and it hurts, so that would suck. But like when you did it, it made this monkey noise like just like that, and we thought the noise was really funny. I'm stalling because I don't really want to do this. Go Goblinberg is level 4 warrior.
He's like, all right, let's do the garbage.
that summons a non-warrior go-go-go from hand, deck, or grave on normal summon, but locks you to Xyz, and when it's detached for cost, it can search a Dodo monster. Dodo Warrior is a level 6 that can milk a Dodo to summon itself as a 4 but lock you, and when he's detached, he searches a Zubaba. Zubaba Knight is a level 3 that on summon either searches a Zubaba and matches its level, or pops a level 4 lower defense position monster, and searches a Gagaga when he's detached. Gagaga Gambara Knight can reveal Gagaga from extra to summon itself and either summon another Gagaga from hand, or rotate a monster, and when he's detached, he searches a Go-Go-Go. Gagaga Utopic Tactics protects Utopia and Utopic monsters from destruction and targeting, can make 2 monsters including a Gagaga any level you want, and when a Utopia is Xyz summoned, you can pop a card. Xyz Unbreakable Barrier is an Omni-Negate counter trap while you control an Xyz that can then detach 2 materials from your field to pop something, and can banish itself from grave to attach a Utopia from grave to an Xyz you control. Gagaga Girl is a sort of fake generic rank 4 that can detach a material if it has an Onomat attached to it to search a Gagaga, Onomat, or Xyz card, and gives any Utopic future it's attached to a second attack. A number F0 Utopic Future Jaxel is treated as a rank 1 because level and rank 0s would fuck up a lot of established rulings, but look at how much aura they have. Can be made with any 2 Xyz monsters of the same rank, gains 5 for every rank on your field or your opponent's grave, lightning rods all attacks and targeting effects, and when your opponent activates a monster effect on field, it can detach a material to steal a monster and become indestructible for the turn. These cards facilitate a decently strong and expressive rank 4 strategy that doubles the advantage that each Xyz you make can generate by getting searches just by attempting to use their effects.
I can't wait to see how his heart's gonna break about this one. Right now, I'm locking in. It's a zone thing. It's like he's gonna get irritated about the zone math.
Actually, pull up a diagram to help explain. Much better. Alright, so your game plan mainly revolves around this search loop here, with Goblin searching Dodo searching Zubaba, Zubaba searching Gambara, and Gambara searching another Goblin for follow-up. And your main priority starting off is going to be making Girl, who can search Pickup for Para, so that right off the bat, you trigger one of the materials to get a name to hand, and use Para to get 2 more. Your best starter is going to be Goblin, searchable with Rhoda, Grand Entrance if you want, which can summon either Glove or Gigas, because you also need a copy of Glove in deck to mill with Dodo, so no point in trapping a second copy underneath Girl. Dodo is another good starter, and a good extender that makes rank 4s on his own without needing any particular card on board, so he can help you play through Nibiru, which you can force out early by threatening to make Draco Future with Girl, and your second rank 4, which would probably be Eclipse Twins because it both forces Nib as early as possible and uninterrupted gives you further protection for UDF. But did you know is soft once per turn? So here's a scenario: as your opponent plays through your whole board, but then you nib them, searchable with Granite, and get UDF back with a negate, but I'm getting ahead of myself by miles. When Dodo is detached, he can search Zubaba, but here's the thing, is that all 4 of them can also search Utopic Onomatopoeia, as he's treated as all 4 archetypes, making him a crucial nexus point in the deck, interacting with every facet of it except Goblinberg's summon. The main ways you'll get him on field is either with Glove or with Gambara, who, like Dodo, is a flexible extender who doesn't care what the board looks like as long as you still have Magician and extra. Switching something to attack can occasionally come up to out Baguska, or to use Future to steal something big and swing with it. The sort of odd man out in this wonky quartet is Zubaba, who can search Bancho on summon and become a 4, making him a rank 4 on his own as well, but he's clearly not as good of a normal summon as Goblin, since he makes pretty inefficient use of the search Bancho with no targeting grave for its effect, and because he needs to resolve to become a 4, with your only way to fix his level from that point being pickup. He can function perfectly fine as a 1-up to someone with Onomatopoeia's Pendulum summon that seriously could be so much worse to draw. I don't want to make him sound like this awful brick. But anyway, after summoning UDF, you generally have somewhere in the range of 7 level 4s of material to work with, giving you some decent options to build your board with. You can make Ptolemaeus and rank up into CDI to pair your UDF negate with an Omni negate, or with the same 3 materials, you can make Alimbertian to search Astraltopia, who can get you either Unbreakable Barrier or Numbers Protection. Barrier is both an alternative
still
to
numbers
Girl,
protection,
which gives you an option for Mulcharmy lines, and has the added quirk of its disjointed pop, which, as we've seen in things like Varadras and Cipher, can yield additional value over a traditional negate and destroy. And we'll actually come back to that in a moment, because first I'd like to talk about UFZ. Being able to use both numbers and not numbers makes him a lot easier to summon than UDF, because he can be made with Dugaris, whose effect can draw you extra hand traps before being stuffed under Jaxel with Alimbertian. As an interruption, he's fine. His timing's a little awkward, needing to chain to a monster effect on field exclusively, but Thinking about it as something to make with 2 Xyz monsters who have already gotten value, it's not hard to appreciate that he does anything at all. His most useful skill is having the biggest target on his head in the world. Not only does Jaxel protect UDF from being targeted, forcing your opponent to go after him with things like Imperm and Aggregator, if they don't out Jaxel quick enough and let his steal resolve, he becomes indestructible. So if your opponent doesn't take down your barrier quick enough, it'll only get more unbreakable. And what, you thought we weren't gonna circle back around to it after I said we would? If your opponent does remove Jaxel early enough, you can turn him back on by using barrier to detach Eclipse from UDF, triggering it to revive Jaxel. Even if they negate but don't destroy Jaxel, you can proactively use barrier to destroy your own monster just so that Eclipse can turn it back on. But
because it's always treated as a 1? Yeah, I guess so. Okay, it checks.
Pivoting off from the open-ended nature of the deck's payoff, there have been a couple of attempts at mixing this deck with other rank 4 strategies, the most prominent of which, of course, being Ryzial. The simplest way to incorporate these cards into Ryzial is to just play 3 Do and 1 Glove to make Duo Drive without the normal summon. A Zubaba for Do to search isn't even necessary because Duo Drive detaching for effect won't trigger any of these effects. But to avoid fumbling value like that, other lists have ventured to play much larger packages with Girl and Bancho and sometimes even the spells in Goblinberg, so you can make Banshee to search ice and make UDF to protect it, or do even more Ouroboros loops. But to borrow some of Sunny's thoughts on this build, it plays more like a full combo deck than a Ryzial deck and isn't really that good. And from what I can tell, the more conservative Onomot packages are being experimented with less as a factor of their innate strength, and more due to the limitations the deck faces with the OCG card pool, trying to make up for the consistency lost to all the ban list hits, a problem that TCG Ryzial has already accounted for with Mitsurugi. And that brings us to our final speculative point.
Fuck, man, this card is so good.
The possibility of Mitsurugi being the best Onomot variant. Over time, it's looking more and more like King of the Fairlimps is just the best rank 4 in the game. Not at all unlike any deck that can summon 2 monsters, having good reason to consider the Fiendsmith package, any deck with 2 level 4s can pivot into Mitsurugi. So maybe Onomot's best hope for competitive success lies with one of the best engines in the format that plays well with the Xyz lock being accessible through a rank 4. But it's unlikely because it only exacerbates the deck's weaknesses, and the Mitsurugi combo can't pivot back into Onomot as well as it can into Ryzial. Anyway, that's pretty.
Yeah, because there's no like tachyon search that enables you to make their stupid modular level Xyz.
Much it. If you want to do well with the deck, you'll probably have to heavily tailor the end board to the metagame, because rank 4 end board pieces are actually kind of situational. But you do have a lot of good options for going second, because there's tons of decent board breakers like Exciton and Castel you can fit in the extra if you don't waste too much space on turn 1 sealing. So I'd say you can do okay with this deck as long as you know what you're doing. Now take a shot every time you thought about Droll.
Another banger-ass, baller-ass episode. Okay. This did a good job of reminding me that there is a lot that I need to learn, but it doesn't sound like it's going to be as impactful as people online are pretending. Oh, my God. Calling Vanquishals Vols is disgusting. Call them VS monsters. Vol. Ugh. All right. Let's do some ban lists. We don't have new cards, do we? I'm pretty sure we don't. No, we literally do not. Infernal Punisher. That's new. I think that's it, though, right? Yeah, I don't think that I am going to do it on... Okay, there's the OCG list, the Asian English list, and I want to do the Magic the Gathering list. Are there any other ban lists I should know about? Are there any other ban lists I should know about? Master Duel one? No. Oh yeah, did we ever do the Master Duel ban list? Enable for Farfa viewers? What do you got? Sure. Wait, where is the... Can someone link me the Master Duel ban list? Gotta keep the volume down. Can't have you yammering on and on in your videos. We're here to watch you rip packs and lose money. You'll learn soon enough, mate. This is a good Midas tweet. There's not many of those. Oh shit, Kevin's online. What am I doing? Okay. There we go. All right, here we go. New ban list, PogChamp, new ban list, PogChamp. Okay, there's no new cards, but there are a whole bunch of ban lists I want to talk about. This is the single new card. It's called Infernal Punisher, and it's got that awful Infernal card and a water dragon on it. Activate one of these effects. Either add a water dinosaur monster from your deck to your hand, then if your opponent controls a monster, you can special summon the added monster, or tribute a monster, special summon a level 6 or higher fire monster from your hand, deck, or graveyard, but its effects are negated unless it is a fiend monster. Cool. I don't know why they're printing this. Were there people who were like, I need my Infernal. I need my Water Dragon Searcher. I guess maybe it gets Deuterion? I don't know. Anime reference. I mean, for sure. Yeah. Okay. First up, let's talk about the official card game July 1st, 2025 limit regulations. Maxi? No, not Maxi. Okay. Appaloosa Bow of the Goddess has been banned. Paradise Smasher has been banned. Anti-Spell Fragrance to 1. Wandering Griffin Rider and Nightmare Goblin to 1 from 0. Sprite Jet and Mask Change 2 down to 2. And then Unlims are just a bunch of cards that don't do anything. This rocks. So, first and foremost, I really like the philosophy behind this ban list. Obviously, Appaloosa is like the last piece of generic negation available in the extra deck, and it's frustrating to see that both the OCG and the TCG have rightfully understood that that's not something decks should be able to do willy-nilly. Master Duel's playing a little bit of catch-up, but it will get there eventually, mark my words. Paradise Smasher might seem a little weird to you here, but there's a significant amount of decks that can theoretically play this card. Obviously, it's a 5, so in the OCG, all their rampant 5 decks are a consideration, but it's still playable in things like Memento, where it's quite strong at present in Master Duel. This is a card that I really like not seeing, so I appreciate that it is no longer around. In terms of limits, Anti-Spell Fragrance, why would you bring that to 1? I think it's fine at 0, but Wandering Griffin Rider could have been not banned forever, as could Nightmare Goblin. I was willing to eat my words on this one. I was totally wrong. It does not do anything in the modern era. Sprite Jet and Mask Change 2, it's really funny, were ever limited. Think about that. Mask Change 2, 2025, is finally being moved from 1 to 2. Wait, am I stupid about Anti-Spell Fragrance? I am, yes. It went from 3 to 1. Yeah, should be at 0. And then it unlimits a bunch of random stuff. So, originally, I was excited about this list. I was like, this is really cool. This is the type of list I wish we had in the TCG. And then I thought, you know what? It might actually be worth checking my blind spots on this one. Like, I make content for and about the TCG and Master Duel. I don't actually know too much about the OCG. I know what's good in the OCG just because it's preparatory work for what's going to be good in the TCG. But what do OCG players actually think about this list? So I put out a thing on Twitter. I was like, to anyone who plays OCG, can you give me your thoughts on the list? And generally they were like, it was fine. It was okay. But when you take kind of a closer look at the list, you'll see there's nothing on this list that impacts the top decks. Like in the OCG, there's a significant amount of strategies that are playable that are largely not impacted by this. It's just smoothing out the edges on problematic cards that remain available. And I think that type of list is valuable if you think the current format is good on face. The general consensus among OCG players seems to be that this like VSK9 format they're currently in is fun enough that they are willing to take a hit in terms of the list doesn't shake up what decks are playable. That they're enjoying the format enough that this is really all they wanted. A bunch of the chaff moved down. A bunch of the unfun bullshit like ASF, Apollosa, Paradise moved up. But there were some people who were like, I'm upset that the list wasn't used for its explicit purpose, which is to change the decks that are being played. So while originally I was like, this is an 11 out of 10 list, I was surprised to hear a lot of OCG individuals thought that the list was basically made for content creators to make the Pogface app because they saw Apollosa was banned and not necessarily to balance the game. That the game was already in a balanced state, and because we had a set date on it, they just had to do something. Yes, but Apoban is a net positive. I'll agree with that. And I think everyone would probably agree with that, but, you know. Mass change too, though. No maxi movement equals bad list. It's going to take them some time. I'm hoping they move it to 1. Maxi did go to 2 before, by the way. Just to instill the fear of God in all of you. Maxi has gone to 2 before and then gone back to 3. If you want it to go to 1, you gotta hope. All right, Asian English ban list. So for those of you that don't know, the Asian English format, this is a format that plays using a completely separate card pool because they tried to force 10,000 cards in at once, has received a ban list update. I just like looking at these from a total outsider's perspective. It's always funny to see they're like, yeah, we're finally going to hit Halka Fibrax in 2025. But Ryziel is currently one of their best decks. They have forbidden Abyss Dweller, Kaiser Coliseum, and Summon Limit. Great. Ryziel catch-up. D-Shifter to 1, X Ryziel to 1. Wow, they're ahead of the the TCG. Sword Ryziel to 1 and Bonfire to 1. Then Engraver to 2, classic Konami move. Gamma to 2, okay. Track to 2, and Gold Sark to 2. Hilarious. Well, I mean, it does bring Ryziel more to heal, but, I mean, we've shown that you can still play it, no matter how few of these cards you have. As long as X is legal, this will be a fine, fine deck. Next up, the Magic the Gathering ban list. So, no changes to anything. Pioneer, Modern, Legacy, Vintage, Pauper. With the exceptions of these weird arena formats and Standard. So, one of the funniest things about Magic the Gathering ban lists is they talk specifically about why they've done what they've done. So you might be shocked to see Magic the Gathering doesn't often have these sorts of sweeping comprehensive ban lists that the Yu-Gi-Oh! Trading card game is known for. Instead, they ban very little, very infrequently. And one of the things that I really appreciated was that in recent years, the Standard ban list has been very sparse. I think it's a really bad sign when a shitload of cards are banned in Standard. But, for what it's worth, everyone I know who plays Standard was like, there does need to be movement here. They've banned 7 cards. Now, there is a little bit of a precedent for this. This is not the most cards that's been banned in Standard at any individual time. And more importantly, Standard has moved in such a way that it's now a 3-year rotation cycle. So there are huge downsides to leaving a card legal until it becomes rotated or something. But Corey Steelcutter, Abuelo's Awakening, Monstrous Rage, Heartfire Hero, Up the Beanstalk, Hopeless Nightmare, and This Town Ain't Big Enough are all banned. If you check their discussion of it, today's announcement is our once-a-year early rotation window for Standard. Our goal is to set the next rotation cycle up to be as fun as possible. We do this by saying an early goodbye to a number of cards that have proven their strength and made the format less fun by creating unhealthy play patterns or restricting the viable deck building options available in the environment. Our last banned and restricted announcement was roughly 3 months ago, shortly after the release of Ether Drift, where Standard was looking fun. There were decks currently at the top of the metagame, but below those there was a sea of other decks that stood a fighting chance. With the release of Tarkey or Dragonstorm, we accidentally printed this card, Corey Steel Cutter. 1 in a red equipment that gives a critter +1/+1 trample and haste, and whenever you cast your second spell each turn, you make a 1/1 white creature token with prowess that you can use this card to equip to. I don't know about you. I play Magic infrequently, but this reads to me like one of the most powerful cards ever printed. Am I crazy? Maybe it's because I recall making a lot of germ tokens in my day, but oh my fucking god. Please explain. Sure, this is an infinite token generator that immediately suits the token up and permits it to attack for a shitload of damage. Also, the token has prowess? Are you kidding me? 2-mana Monastery Mentor? It's just Bitter Blossom, right? It's Better Blossom? It's a once per turn at least. Oh, that's true. Anyway, it went crazy. It's been going nuts, and it has a lot to do with this card too. Vivi, one of the Final Fantasy cards, which makes 1,000,000 mana, domes your opponent for 1,000,000,000,000. So they hit this. Also, Omniscience is in Standard. This is a classic Magic card. It says you could just play Yu-Gi-Oh for the rest of the game, but it costs 10. So much of the deck is about cheating it out. There's a deck that cheats it out. And then finally, Monstrous Rage has been kind of the cornerstone of red deck wins. Target creature gets +2/+0. Create a monster roll token attached to it. Gives it +3/+1 and trample. And some of that is permanent. Cool. That looks like red deck wins. I'm telling you, red deck wins always finds a way. I don't know. The discussion I've seen around this banned and restricted list is interesting for a couple of reasons. Firstly, there are some people who are upset that it is getting them out of the format. In Yu-Gi-Oh!, Konami does a pretty good job, and this is the only time you're ever going to hear me say this, of banning decks in such a way that they are still technically legal. And for individuals who pet deck, that is sufficient for them. As long as their deck is legal in any way, shape, or form, they will try to play it, right? Magic the Gathering players are a little more concerned about actually winning games. And, you know, that makes sense, especially in a format like Standard where you've already bought into the assumption that at some point your cards will no longer be legal. So for some of these individuals, they bought cards that had an expiration date, and they're finding the expiration date is coming up sooner than they had hoped. And for those individuals, it's kind of frustrating, I think, to know that even in the format that they're already feeling like they're renting cards, their rental agreement can be canceled at any given time. I've seen a lot of people talking about how they feel priced out of Standard, the format in which you are supposed to know when your deck is going to come due. And I understand that perspective. I think it's a perspective that we can't appreciate as effectively as Yu-Gi-Oh! Players because we deal with it all the fucking time. But I have seen people whining about it. It's a month before the rotation. This is not a big deal. Okay, I mean, yes, it is shortly before rotation, but every one of these cards has huge tack-on effects as to other decks and even archetypes that are no longer playable as a result of them getting gone, right? None of these cards are rotating. I think what people are saying is significant shakeups will occur anyway because of the physical act of rotation, not necessarily that these cards will go out. Like, we know these cards aren't going out. Moreover, I have seen a really strange criticism of this ban list that I would like any Magic players to sound off on. And that is that the banned and restricted list is being influenced not necessarily as a result of play rates and win percentages, but of player attitudes disseminated from content creators, right? Like that people like Saffron Olive, etc., that hold a sort of psychological weight in the community are repeating sentences like Corey Steelcutter is broken, Monstrous Rage is broken, I'm sick of playing against that, this town ain't big enough, which disseminate to an audience that is less discerning and maybe doesn't play a ton of Standard, who then parrot those, making the B&R committee feel as though there is an outcry for these changed. Now, again, I don't know if this is true or not, but I've seen like dozens of people talking specifically about this phenomenon. Very fake. If anything, it's over-influenced by best of one in Arena because it encourages fast decks. Very fake, the whole top cut was these two decks. I think the argument would be, is that a problem? Do you feel that's an issue? To that, I would say, yes, I do, personally. But I'm a streamer, so I guess that would be proof positive that they control the economy. Rothschild pussy got me acting strange. I asked who controls the ban list, and I said Saffron Olive. It's unreal that anybody gives any time to Seth's competitive opinions. He's a great brewer, but I cannot listen to his podcast without wanting to scream anytime he tries to comment on anything. Possibly the most ignorant, made-up opinions imaginable? Siberian, is that your real perspective? I certainly hope you're being honest and truthful here, because that's such a fantastic Siberian paragraph. Oh my god. Anyway, what an odd situation. Me personally, I just hate seeing shit like this. Irrespective of its impact on the format, irrespective of who wanted it banned and why, it is disheartening to look at a 9-card ban list in Standard. Like, I just didn't want there to be a Standard ban list. And for years, there wasn't. But with a 3-year Standard period, I mean, it almost seems inevitable that they're going to have to do lists like this. And they seem to kind of forecast a future in which this happens every time there's a once-a-year early rotation. So, I don't know. Guy who doesn't play Magic, I hate to see Magic like this. Chat, I hate to do this to you. You are now going to have to endure my Magic opinions. I have been playing enough Magic of late that you once again will have to endure my Magic opinions. I know. Although I don't have really developed opinions on Standard, so maybe you're right. But you don't play Standard? Exactly, right. No. I don't know. I'd like to see how people feel about these. Up the Beanstalk is such a fucking fun card, though. Oh, man. Is green the new blue? Yes. While we previously announced there would be no changes to Modern, we did want to check in on how we're viewing the current state. The last 6 months have had a massive shakeup, with several cards moving on and off the ban list, followed by the banning of Underworld Breach. In the time since, it wasn't clear how things were going to shake out, other than players believing Boros Energy was going to be the top dog. In some respects, this was true, and has remained true for the last few months. Players that assembled the deck to play in the RCQ season have had a pretty good time with it, and the deck has remained the most played archetype for the last few months. That said, its win rate and share of the metagame have been steadily coming down over time. Corey Steelcutter and Kentramosa both supplanted existing decks in Modern, letting them flourish in the face of Guide of Souls and Ilk. Kentramos in particular has had some further exploration of the previously 2-color Orzhov Blink, now splashing blue for Frog and some sideboard tools. Also, people are playing Brute Scale, a deck that's not good. Is this deck really good? Every time I see someone play this deck, I'm like, this can't be real, right? Oh my goodness. Every time I've played against it, maybe it's because I play permission decks, but I'm just like, sheesh, what a silly combo. Something you would see in like Pauper. It's not elegant in the way that I want combos to be. More like Affinity than a combo deck. Wow, that's... What a strange way to describe it. Wow, what a strange way to describe it. Totally true, though. I mean, I just never thought about it like that. It even has Springleaf Drum. Yeah. I mean, I'll admit this card's fun. Why the Kentramos hate? I hate that fucking card. No, it's cool. It's just irritating. Ugh. Do you guys want to see the worst looking card ever? Look at how nice this card looks, right? Ketramos, the new dawn. Look at this fucking thing. What a beautiful card, right? Anyway, here's the piss rare. This is a real card. It looks like this. People have the option between playing this version and this version. And some of them pick this version. Oh, my God. Oh, man. If there was no maximum gold, we would need to invent it. Oh, man. All right, I think that's all I want to talk about with respect to ban lists. Let's do the Alestrals ban list. Why is Elachik banned?
It's finally time for us to send our little bird friend Elachik straight to Tartarus.
More like Fartarus. Can A-Drive not talk like that when he's like, hey guys, we're killing this bird. Feedleger. Thank you for the 500. Hey, MBT. So sorry if you've seen my question on Bluer Skies, but I'm not a Yu-Gi-Oh player. I've been wondering why normal summoning and face-up defense wasn't allowed in any actual card game. Okay, so you posted that, and I almost replied, but I didn't. The answer is, I don't know. Nothing would be broken by being able to normal summon in face-up defense mode. You just can't. I was like, yeah, you should be able to. No reason you shouldn't be able to. You can special summon and face up defense. Oh, let's watch the new Farfa.
Mulcharmies are a detriment to Yu-Gi-Oh!
Okay. Before Farfa disseminates his European opinion, or Euro-opinion, as I've taken to calling them, to you impressionable young children, let me offer a counter-argument to the stupid shit he's about to say. I don't hate the Mulcharmies. I think the Mulcharmies are interesting cards that, in theory, force you to play in a specific way. I think that cards need to be designed a little more thoughtfully to have lines into the Charmies that feel good but not broken. I think there's a lot of options for people who don't want to automatically lose to these cards to play. And I think a lot of the individuals who are talking about them like they're just maxi are being a little bit disingenuous.
Their implementation was already a cause for concern, and now that an adequate amount of time has elapsed, it has become clear that these cards should not have been made in the first place and are not an adequate solution to modern Yu-Gi-Oh!
So, I guess the issue, I would say, with respect to the Mulcharmies is, What else did you want? Like, if the point is there needs to be powerful tools you can deploy from your hand that prevent an opponent who is comboing off to get to a position where they build a board that can't lose to anything, what do you want? We've exhausted almost the entirety of what you can even physically print on a board breaker, and they're still only okay. We know the Maxi is far too powerful. Outside of engine that is just totally adept at breaking boards, I think non-engine like the Mulcharmies is kind of an elegant solution to the problem.
That is the argument posited by Nerd Factor over on X.com for.
I mean, gassing up a Nerd Factor take. So this was actually an interesting discussion that I think happened the other day. Nerd Factor, who's played one game of Yu-Gi-Oh in the last 5 years, posted this, which says, Modern Yu-Gi-Oh! I'm going to go first, uninterrupted. I have more interrupts than you have cards in hand, I win. Situation 2, the fix. I charm you, you're ending on 1 to 2 interrupts. I start with 6 cards in hand. You can't charm me back. I'm going first with the battle phase. I win. Situation 3 says, I'm going first because Ash Blossom is called by, I will negate your card. This person goes, I win. Situation 4 is, these aren't hard once per turns. So I think this is, despite the fact that I think Nerd Factor is consistently wrong about everything, I think this is a pretty good description of kind of the push-pull of these cards. And I think it's just a question if you think this second situation, where one Charmy resolves and you end on 1 or 2 negates, is okay.
Formerly known as the tweeting page, filled with normal people who understand nuance and can handle a balanced discussion on the internet.
And I want to also highlight that I know a lot of people gave Nerd Factor a lot of shit, but a lot of people also agreed, including a lot of pro players that know what they're talking about. I think this is like a defensible take.
Let's dive into today's subject and dissect this topic in complete depth. This thread has caused an uproar of discussion, and to be quite frank, the Charmy situation is crazy. So we will be looking at each of the situations here, taking a look at some community commentary, discussing the pros and cons of the Mulcharmies.
Who edited this? Karim Zero? I will pay you double what he's paying you.
Discussing their implementation into the game and why they were made, their goals, and if those goals have indeed been successfully fulfilled, rounding off with my own personal thoughts, opinions, and conclusions. Which of course is naturally going to be correct because it's my YouTube video. It's my house, I get the player 1 controller. Situation 1. Modern Yu-Gi-Oh! I am going first, uninterrupted. I will end on more interrupts than you have cards in hand. I win. This is a typical situation, which has rapidly become the case since the modernization of the game, as too commanding of a position. For as long as Yu-Gi-Oh's been around, going second has rarely been an optimal strategy. And while I'm sure—
I hate that sentence! That sentence is so clunky! For as long as Yu-Gi-Oh's been around, it's rarely been— Oh!
You can very intelligently say the words Tenpai or Sky Striker. For each deck that you name that optimally, willingly chooses to go second, you could name about 30 others that would actually, in fact, rather go first, and that indeed has mostly been the meta for all of Yu-Gi-Oh's lifespan. In the year 2007, we saw one of the first real relevant hand traps be developed, DD Crow, a card with—
A hand trap be developed? What do you mean we saw a hand trap be developed? Okay. This is just a ramble that he's cut into a video. If this is something you sat down and wrote, I would be more
Which
mad.
simply pitches itself from the hand to banish a card from the graveyard, banishing Malicious to prevent synchro plays, manipulating your opponent's dart counts for dad, hitting Fiendsmith Engraver. DD Crow for almost 20 years has been a fairly decent card.
Being
and
mean
has
for no
very
reason.
shockingly stood the test of time surprisingly well. Well, what does this have to do with the Mulcharmy situation? Well, it was almost 20 years ago Konami identified...
This is why I absolutely hate when you and your community watch my content. Let's go. We're literally nitpicking sentence structure. Farfa, do you know what a direct object is? Just like yelling at you.
Going first perhaps needed some addressing. 3 years later, cards like Effect Veiler were made. 2 years after that, Max C. 5 after that was Ash Blossom and
5 years after Max C
2
was
years
Ash
thereafter
Blossom.
was the infamous Megaton, Dimension Shifter, and Nibiru the Primal Being.
More like the Magatins, am I right? Hey, what happened to Dark Ruler No More? Remember when Dark Ruler No More was being played? Who misses Dark Ruler No More?
Almost the entire duration of Yu-Gi-Oh's competitive existence, there has been a constant arms race to fix this problem. The dichotomy between going first versus going second, and how to balance each, while also naturally having to power creep one for the other. And how was this problem fixed last year?
Rotation.
Situation 2, the fix. I'm going first. I charm you. You're ending on 1 to 2 interrupts. I start with 6 cards in hand. You can't charm me back. I'm going first with a battle phase. I win. And the argument in favor of today's video theory is this one. The suggestion in this panel is that for all intents and purposes, resolving a Charmy when going second is essentially skipping your opponent's turn. I
think Farfa is correct here. I think he's landed on where the weak point of this argument lies, which is this interaction right here realistic? Like, certainly there are situations where you end on a smaller amount of, like, you end on 1 to 2 interrupts and your opponent's engine is just sufficient to beat your board. But I've also played a lot of games where someone resolves a Charmy and then loses, right?
Forcing them into an almost...
Farfa, you don't listen. Yikes, I'm out. Can only handle reading. Look how stupid he is for so long. You don't have to listen to my chat. They don't fucking know anything.
Almost negligible board.
The dumbest
beginning their
people
turn
on the
with 6
planet.
cards after an extra or main deck monster has been summoned. They will cycle their deck for at least 1 card and essentially skip the turn, and hence going first despite having the battle phase. Now, why is this correct? And also, why is this wrong? This situation specifically will evoke all kinds of different reactions from you, the viewer, depending on what deck you play. Some archetypes throughout the game's history need to enter...
It's X-Ryziel almost exclusively that makes half the boards almost useless. Shh, we're getting there. We're getting there.
To the main deck and extra deck multiple times to even really achieve anything. We're talking fair combos here. One of the worst examples of this I can think of would be something like Marine Cess, Salomon Great, Ritual Beast. There are plenty of decks that you can think of that likely need to special summon multiple times, but don't really do that much. These kind of decks do a whole lot of stuff, but don't really end on much other than 2 to 3 disruptions.
Kind of weird because, like, the Charmies aren't maxi, right? He's talking about, like, they have to special summon a lot in order to get their combo off to the races, but, like, if it's a Perulia, a deck like Ritual Beast probably has to play around, like, 1 or 2 draws, even though you're special summoning a lot.
Yes, I know that Ritual Beast can Protoss you, but that's a problem with the Floodgates and not actual Ritual Beast cards.
He's finding... He's finding downsides as he's writing, and he's like, fuck, okay, yeah, sorry, let me back off for a sec. I know that a bunch of decks play an annoying-ass Floodgate.
It's a Steeds, a Banish, and a Rank 4, come on. These kind of decks do a whole lot, but ultimately ending on very minimal disruptions, which some would argue would be fair interactive Yu-Gi-Oh! Now, conversely, on the opposite end of the spectrum, there are decks which can do a lot without giving your opponent a single card. Blue Eyes is a perfect example in which it can activate Barrel's Field effect to set Drill Beam, use the other effect to send Blue Eyes to the graveyard, bring it back with the Lordly Load since it doesn't need to summon from the main deck, get a trap card to pop your cards with True Light after resolving Maiden. doing all of this while also still potentially drawing a hand trap for their turn, like setting an imperm or having a Veiler in the hand. That is
I mean, but that's an optimal. That's a scenario. I maybe I'm not understanding it. I'm willing to be wrong, but I think he's describing this is a scenario in which like one of the Charmies does what you'd want, right? It forces your opponent onto a lower value end board. Here, Drill Beam, Blue Eyes with like Majesty plus setup for next turn instead of Drill Beam, Seifer, Spirit, Ultimate Big Haired Dragon, right?
two real disruptions created from 0 Full Loss draws. This
that's
is
fine.
a perfect counter to the Situation 2 argument. However, not every deck is Blue Eyes. And even in the best case situation of this specific example, not every hand has a Primite card. There will be hands, and there are decks that, if you want to put up even a single disruption, you will have to enter the main deck or extra deck at least once.
This is okay. I'm gonna go one step further here. So, the argument here is not every deck has the capacity to play through Charmies in such a way that you'll win the game, right? Like maybe it takes them too many summons under Fualos or too many summons from hand for Perulia in order to get shit onto the field that even remotely contests an opponent's play, right? So, the argument is there are some hands in some decks that lose to Perulia or Fualos. Regardless of how you feel about those decks, that gameplay loop sucks. You activate a card, your opponent activates one hand trap, and you functionally lose, right? But that's also true of like Droll and Lockbird, right? Sometimes you activate a card, add a card to hand that adds a card, your opponent drolls you, and you lose. That sucks too, right? But sometimes that happens with Ash Blossom. Sometimes you activate a card, maybe one that requires you to pitch a card. Let's say Blue Eyes, even Blue Eyes. Your only play is the Double Searcher. You activate it, they ash it, and then you lose. Right? So, like, everything's a floodgate if you squint hard enough, is what I'm saying. I think it is just the truth of a zero-sum game that some hands are going to be beat by a single card that your opponent is already playing. I think it's just a question of how permissive you think that is. If you think the Mulcharmies do it too often against too much shit.
And in the case of just making Spirit pass without Primite cards, more often than not, that's 2 draws. So you get to go +1 for Spirit Dragon pass. Is that fair? Well, some would argue yeah. On the side of unfair, my entire turn was pretty much shut down and inhibited by one single hand trap. No skill expression, no well-timed holding of a imperm, for example, on a particular choke point, just bang. Activate Full Loss, it lingers for the entire turn, and now I'm at the mercy of your 6-card hand with a battle phase while you're hoping that you've drawn enough counter hand traps. And again, to emphasize, not every deck can play as well as Blue Eyes does.
I mean, but is that a more valuable expression of skill? Activating Imperm on a choke point that everyone is familiar with, right? Is it more valuable to fire Imperm on the card you saw in a YouTube video, or to fire Fualos when your opponent activates a card that says summon from deck?
Under Full Loss. Now, arguing in the sense that it's reasonable, it has prevented you from making multiple Spirit Dragons, a Crimson Dragon line potentially if you play that, Hieratic Seals as well, the extra normal summon from the Link 1 to get more disruption like Searching Effect Veiler with Sage, or even doing another Synchro Summon with Spirit into Baron the Floor. Some would argue that it's good that Konami are designing decks in ways that it can actually have viable plays under Full Loss, but also not completely vomiting out its entire hand. It's good that Konami have designed decks to be more versatile and resilient in their approach to a turn, specifically under Full Loss. Well, that's both sides of the argument.
Yeah.
We'll talk about conclusions after. Situation 3. Bluss. I'm going first. I charmy you.
All right, I can't defend this one. Oh, the fact that Ash Blossom is also called by the grave at present is legitimately probably the most frustrating experience in Yu-Gi-Oh. I don't know. I don't know what to say about it. It is it is really frustrating. So is Droll? No, it isn't. No, it is not. There's a difference between Droll voluntarily putting you under Droll lock and still permitting you a single draw, and Ash just being like, I have called by numbers 2, 3, and 4. Get fucked. See you next game.
Thanks to your non-engine being draw cards, I now have 3 to 6 extra copies of Call by the Grave in my deck. You have been hand looped for 1. I win. So this is essentially the situation 1 we mentioned earlier, except in this case, both players now have 1 less card. You see, by playing 6 copies of Call by the Grave in your deck, designed specifically to beat Fualos, Maxi, statistically, player 1 will draw the answers to Fualos more often than not than you will see Fualos, just by
This is like true if you're only playing Fualos, right? If you're playing Fualos Perulia or Fualos Maxi, it's like you will find them more than your opponent finds the out. I guess not in Master Duel where they're playing 2 called by 1 cross out. So it would be like 6 to 5 or 6 to, I mean, anywhere from 6 to 9.
By virtue of having more copies of cards like Call by Crossout Ash. This is the standard side quest that we've all come to know from Yu-Gi-Oh! Did you draw Fua? Yes. Did I draw Ash? Yes. I win. Did you draw Fua and I didn't draw Ash? Well, you win. A gross oversimplification of a duel, but it cannot be understated that there have been many games played out in this exact flowchart style diagram. These are the kind of checkpoints that both players go through at the start of every single game. And it feels like a formality that one must pass through each and every single time they sit down to play the game. Now let's talk about the counter argument to this first and foremost. So if you go first and draw the answer to my single Fua loss, you get to essentially go first uninhibited, completely uninterrupted, and we are just back to situation 1, which is of course a problem that we've discussed many times in multiple different videos over why that's bad in modern Yu-Gi-Oh! However, you could also counter this by saying that player 2 will have 5 other cards in their hand, some of which could be real disruption for the 4 remaining cards. There is still a duel to be had and other cards to play through. However, while countering the counter argument, that's kind of what the whole point of the panel is saying. Fualos, Ash Blossom playing against the Fualos didn't meaningfully add anything to the game, other than just looping both players for 1 card. Fualos in this case essentially acting as a band-aid for an inherent core problem of the game. These cards are just adding layers of variance to the duel. Checkpoints, coin flips, rather than meaningfully engaging with the problem mechanically. The minigame was just a checkpoint, a cutscene, a prelude to the actual duel itself of engine versus engine. So why are they even in the game in the first place? Situation 4. What? Fuck you mean these aren't once per turn? Now, it's quite a funny interaction, but hilariously enough, it seems like in order to combat the previous situation, Konami specifically made these cards twice per turn so as to avoid the minigame issue. Nothing worse than drawing multiple hand traps that are once per turn, like Double Ash Blossom, realizing that it can't work.
Is irritating. As part of testing for TCG, you kind of have to just assume in a significant number of your games you're going to be playing under Double Charmy.
Because of having such a centrifugal force in a duel that is Fualos or Maxi, etc., these cards have to resolve in order to give you a chance going second, and so they've kind of just allowed you to use them twice. Game state beneficiality per player with all of the varying extreme examples. We have the baseline turn 1 being predominantly in favor of playing 1 comparatively to the holder of Maxi and its associates, predominantly benefiting player 2 under most circumstances with effect of well-designed cards in the middle. More oversimplifications of a game of what modern Yu-Gi-Oh! Is, but I suppose one can only fit so much nuance and analysis within a single tweet. Every game depends way too much on whether these single cards resolve or not. They're completely over-centralizing and add nothing but additional coin flips to the game. So I think that the argument that the pro-Charmy people would make in situation 2 make a bit of a stronger point, whereas the argument that the anti-Charmy people are making in situation 3 I think is a stronger point in this example. So to recap, playing under Fualos with unique lines and ways to set up, giving your opponent minimal draws, while retaining some of your own hand traps and disruptions in the process is a interesting and meaningful way to play the game. Restricting decks from going all out, forcing them to play a little bit more defensively, I think conceptually sounds like a cool idea and a good thing. However, as stipulated under situation 3, the question really is, ultimately, have you addressed the core root of the issue? I would argue no, you've just created new cards, but haven't actually dealt with and engaged with the core problem of the game itself, and that is going second in Yu-Gi-Oh! Just by and large is not really a positive experience, and definitely does not have as high of a win rate anywhere close to going first. So ultimately, what I would like to see is the true fundamentals of the game be addressed rather than just throwing in more cards like Dark Ruler and Nibiru and Dimension Shifter and Mulcharmy, Fuwalos, and who knows what's next down the pipeline to help going second. In 2014, Konami made the bold decision to simply reduce the cards in hand of the player by 1. That's been the case for over a decade now, and by and large, nobody has really complained about this. For me, I've always given suggestions as to what new rule changes could work. I would like to see more cards printed like Zeus, as an example. A landmark of a very well-designed card in my opinion, and it is genuinely a shame that it hasn't been as relevant just because there aren't as many XC decks. Now the TCG has Raizio, but that deck locks itself into 4s just by breathing. Typhon, ironically, is also a very well-designed card that in my opinion is very undertuned. I would like to see another version of Typhon. I don't think it should lock you from summoning for the rest of the turn. I'd like to see something like Typhon remade where you can summon it perhaps in main phase 2, but freezes monster above 3000 and you can still keep summoning. I've made the suggestion before that each player should get 1 normal summon per main phase rather than 1 normal summon per turn. There's also been suggestions that player 2 should start the duel with 6 cards rather than start the duel with 5 cards and drawing to 6 on that turn too, meaning that you just have a statistically higher chance of opening more hand traps. Essentially, I think modern Yu-Gi-Oh! Is past the point of trying to throw more and more cards at the card pool to try and alleviate this issue. I don't want to keep seeing Nibiru, Dart Ruler, etc. being remade every couple of years. I want to see more new cards made that are kind of addressing the game mechanically, like the Zeus and the Typhon, but also potentially some more rule changes here and there. Whether you agree with my suggestions or not are not really the point here. The point that I'm making is that the core level of the game should be addressed rather than just more and more new cards. Because more and more new cards by and large just means here's a bunch more hand traps. One thing that I'll always be parroting is that the solution is definitely not lingering card effects. The biggest reason that I can give you for why lingering card effects shouldn't be in the game, especially hand traps like Droll, Mulcharmy, Maxi, and Master Duel, is because like just thinking about it mathematically, should one card have an influence over the game that covers the 50% of the duel? A lingering card effect lasts an entire turn. Typically, Yu-Gi-Oh! Is 2 turns. You can kind of guess with about 80% accuracy who has won the game just by looking at someone's board by the end of turn 2. So should a lingering card effect be so prevalent so as to take up about 50% of a duel? Even 33% of the game is really going to turn 3. I don't think that sounds reasonable. I think that's too much of an impact for one card. Now, let's take a look at some community input. Multiple World
Oh, do we have to listen to the community?
Championship competitor and DC Cup 2025 winner Herman Hansen says, "This is why I have entirely moved to Master Duel in the past year."
Listen, I love Herman. This is a weird argument, right? Isn't there more of them in Master Duel?
Obviously, all of the problems discussed are actually even more further exacerbated in Master Duel because of Maxi, but I think what he's really referencing here is the existence of side decking and bringing in very detrimental lingering.
Herman Hansen, there is still a way to resolve this outstanding issue. Have you heard of the format where you summon 3 times in one turn?
More games in Master Duel, like in the DC Cup, rather than one single tournament run and hoping for the best. Another multiple world championship competitor, one of the best French players, is Gabriel Soucy, stating that I find that the Charmers are detrimental to the competitive well-being of Yu-Gi-Oh! Since their release. Obviously, this graph is only a
graph. Okay, it's not really a
situation,
graph.
which is
It's
much more
nerd
complex,
factor
but
drawing,
it does
but
illustrate some real issues.
Yeah.
I'm currently on Fiendsmith Evil Twin, which can abuse the Charmies like no other. So I want to say this as a Chimera pilot instead. If you don't have a game plan for a Mulcharmy resolving, then I think
okay,
you're
guys,
not
but
being
with all due respect, real quick, I want to shout out this person's title. Get me the fuck out of here, man. Fuck!
serious with yourself about the game. It's a valid argument. If you're that concerned and worried about Mulcharmies, then there is a world where you have to pick a deck based on the fact that it has plays under Mulcharmy. There should be some sort of a game plan, a plan B, a backup for what happens when you get Fuad turn 1. Thank you so much for tuning into today's video. I hope I've done a good service into explaining the pros and cons of the Mulcharmy and
How is there still a
tackling
minute?
both
What is he
sides of the
talking
argument
about?
For and against. If you want to see more discussion videos like this, it would help a lot if you would leave this video a like so that I know that you liked it and want to see more content like this in the future. Leave your thoughts and prayers down below. Not going to read them, but helps the algorithm. Consider becoming a Patreon member or a YouTube channel member for those cool tour guide emotes. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.
All right. I'm going to say something that you all are never going to hear me say again. Get ready. You are not going to hear me engage with content in this way ever again. I agree with Farfa. I think he's right here. I think in general, people are coming down a little too hard on the Mulcharmies. I don't know what people in chat's general opinion is about these cards. I assume that they dislike them because they're cards that lose them the game, and people hate cards that lose them the game. But I don't really have a problem with the existence of the Mulcharmies. I don't like their stupid interaction with Ash Blossom. That really irritates me. But I think they do represent a type of Maxi that I don't really have an issue existing in Yu-Gi-Oh! Unfortunately, I do totally agree with like the fundamental premise of what Farf is saying, which is we exist within the context of this huge arms race that gets more and more debilitating every year. Like Dimension Shifter, Nibiru, into the Charmies, into Droll and Lockbird and everything. Droll's been out forever, but it's been good for a much less long amount of time, you know? So what I would say is, what is the platonic ideal of a Yu-Gi-Oh game? It's like both players playing at capacity the entire time, right? It's not one player watching a setup cutscene and then one player like hoping that their non-engine can push them through that board. And the Mulcharmies do resolve that outcome, right? They permit one player to play by virtue of, during the setup cutscene, drawing a shitload of cards and then deploying individual hand traps as you find them. And they do so in a way that doesn't benefit the player who did the setup cutscene in a world where going first is already so unbelievably powerful, like Maxi does, for instance. But I can't deny, I would much prefer that if instead of this push-pull where it's like, I have a card that wins the game on the spot, well, I have Ash Blossom, well, I have a second copy of this card, well, I'll make a less powerful board, well, I'll see if I can still find enough non-engine to push through like Detonator Pass, right? Instead of that interaction, I would so much more prefer decks that just play on turn 0. And Konami has printed so many of these of late. There's obviously a game in Canine Vanquish Soul to play on turn 0. Tearlament is a deck that can play on turn 0. There's just so many archetypes that have the option to start interacting with an opponent unthinkably early. Rescue Ace had turn 0. Draco Tail has turn 0s. Lab has turn 0s. Fire King has turn 0s. And if that can just become the norm, if it can become the norm for competent archetypes to have the ability to go off while their opponent is going off, I think that's the solution to this problem that makes most people happiest. Because this thing Nerd Factor is complaining about, you got to understand, Nerd Factor is a pendulum one trick. Nerd Factor's platonic ideal of Yu-Gi-Oh! Is situation 1 just happening over and over and over again. And I do think that Farf is right. You're not going to get out of it by entering an arms race with threats, where you play a card that has a lingering floodgate that prevents your opponent from developing threats. So your opponent starts developing threats that beat your cards that prevent them from developing threats. So you start playing cards that beat your opponent's threats to beat your threats to beat your threats to beat your threats to beat your threats all the way down. I think the answer is decks that play on turn 0. A second part of the answer, which I think Konami, again, you will never hear me say this again, I totally agree with. I think Konami is doing a good job at building cards that are good going first, but better going second. Kashtira Fenrir, incredible card on the play, 1,000 times better on the draw. Fiendsmith Engraver, really, really good on the play. Even better on the draw. Like, these cards that can be part of a setup engine, but have additional effects when deployed going second, or make use of the existence of a battle phase, I think are so crucial to the health of Yu-Gi-Oh! It's weird. It's a hard thing to talk about. And I applaud Farfa for talking about it because, you know, what we're talking about here, despite the fact that there's a graph here, there's nothing scientific about this. It's totally vibes-based. It's just, I dislike when I lose the game and you win the game. And I think we both dislike when the decisions that determine who wins and who loses are outside of our control, when they're completely determined by what's on the top of our decks, what answers we've drawn for your card that wins the game immediately. When the decision to make a lower impact board is constrained by card design choices rather than deck construction decisions or like line development. Where the ingenuity of playing under a specific lingering hand trap floodgate isn't available because your deck doesn't do the things that beat that. I don't know. That's I think my solution. Powerful cards that are better going second than they are going first, and archetypes that have the capacity to play during turn 0. I too am frustrated with the continued proliferation of lingering floodgate hand traps that end the turn immediately. I think it sucks. And that goes for individual trap cards that do too. I've been playing a lot of everything, but every time I play Ryziel, I just get into these situations where like I'll like on the play in game 3, I'll flip up a Harpy's Featherstorm and my opponent will be like, great, this again. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, I don't know what to tell you. I too am frustrated that this card exists. You want to know a great example of one of those cards, by the way, that's better going second than going first? Exed Ryziel. Fuck me. As annoying as that card is, and as much as it really fucks up end boards these days, boy, am I glad that it exists. Another series of cards that are much better going second than going first, the Mitsurugi. Holy shit, the Mitsurugi are so good. Like, thank God they exist. Legitimately, I think the current TCG format, which I'm enjoying a lot, I think it would be unplayably bad if not for the existence of the Mitsurugi. Ugh. I'm just tired of this format, TBH. Well, you're not going to have to play it for much longer. I don't know. I think a lot about rotation. I think I like the concept of rotation, not because I think that like time gating individual cards is better, but because I wish there was a Yu-Gi-Oh! That was more curated. That didn't have to dance around 10,000 individual cards and instead could have only the cards that have game going for turn 0, only the powerful going second tools that are still playable going first. I don't know. But I don't know what that would look like. I think again, rotation is too big an undertaking for me to do. It would have to be the only thing I do, and I don't think it's sustainable in that way. But I think the ultimate solution for people who are frustrated with stuff like this is something like pre-con format. Like, there are just like 8 pre-built decks that you have to get really good at. I don't know. I feel like Magic is running into this too. Yeah, okay, so this is the thing is, forever I was able to be like, rotation can work, look at Magic. And now you look at Magic and rotation isn't working. There is still an unthinkable power creep. All the old cards that were once playable are no longer playable because even ones with corner case applications have been blown out of the water by commander staples that have been printed and are 1,000 times more powerful than anything they could ever accomplish. Like, I don't know. I don't know why they made the conscious choice to do that, but that's what they did. It worked for 25 years, right? I honestly think the whole turn 0 thing with a few of the new decks is cool, but God, it's horrible to play against if you don't play something tier 2 and better. That's also true. Is like, yes, giving these decks turn 0 options is incredible, but trades off with the fact that Yu-Gi-Oh! Wants to maintain a playable base of 1,000 decks. I don't know. Magic sucks right now, but the power creep is still far, far less than Yu-Gi-Oh! Yeah, I mean, sure. On the other hand, I'd tell you that Dark Confidant is in Standard and is not being played. It is being played? Let's go! Wait, okay, never mind. Standard is good once again. You might see play now. Dark Confidant is a 20-year-old card. What do you want me to tell you, Siberian? Pot of Greed is a 20-year-old card. If they brought it back and it wasn't good, I'd be upset. Loses to Ash, Kappa. True. It's terrible in a droll. I think there is a time in which Pot of Greed could be crept, but we are not there yet. All right, I think I'm going to call it. Thank you all so much for sticking around. Let's see who's on Twitch. I'm going to be back tomorrow at about 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're going to do the huge. I'm actually going to do this playing your sorry. I'm going to do this making your videos thing that I think is going to be really fun. That's on my Twitter. If you have had an idea for a video of mine that you wanted to see made, this is your opportunity to do it. You'll have to scroll down a bit, but I have a tweet that's like, I'm making some of your recommendations for videos, and I'm going to pick probably 3 or 4 of these. We're going to do this on Wednesday. I'm also going to do usual Wednesday shenaniganry. We've got a Twitter thread going up. That thread is right here. I'm talking about cards that are bad in Advanced but good elsewhere. And this is Speed Duel, for instance. We've actually got a lot of Duel Links answers. So if you want to be in the actual video, probably don't put up a Duel Links answer. And outside of that, on Wednesday, we are also going to be doing the sponsored Persona X stream. So if you want to swing on by and do that, I would also really appreciate it. Show the love, slam the subway. And I think that is just about it. A new short going up today. Stream highlight going up tomorrow. Last thing I want to kind of make an impassioned plea for is ! Socials will get you a link to my YouTube, my Twitch, my Twitter, and my Patreon. I'm putting up way more videos on the Patreon insofar as I'm actually doing my obligations. But the last thing I want to talk about is Wonky Quartet Variety Channel. Is that something you'd all be interested in? Go tell Doug. All right, bye.